Chapter 5575. That lunar tree has an astonishing aura, forming a world of its own. The big tree has withered and decayed, and the flames are still burning wildly. And in the withered Taiyin tree, Long Chen saw a rabbit hiding in the tree hole, like a white jade. The sun is the golden crow, and the moon is the jade rabbit, so it turns out. Seeing this scene, Long Chen immediately exclaimed, and a paragraph of text recorded in an ancient book appeared in Long Chen's mind. It's just that the ancient book is incomplete, there is only such a sentence mentioned, and there is nothing behind it. At that time, Long Chen didn't know what this sentence meant, but now when he saw these rabbits that were as white as jade, and their bodies were full of radiance, he immediately understood. If the golden crow is the guardian beast of the Fusang ancient tree, then the jade rabbit is the elf that lives and accompanies the Taiyin tree. When he thought of this, Long Chen couldn't help but his heart beat wildly. If these rabbits could be brought into the chaotic space and raised on the tree of Taiyin, wouldn't they be rich and have both the sun and the sun? What about the son of Brahma? Now that the treasure is present, you can lose your life. Who would be afraid of your identity? You are too naive. A creature covered in black hair and with a one-horned head, pointed at Brahma with a grotesque saber and sneered, stepped forward with a single step. The long saber turned into a flying rainbow and slashed at him. This creature's energy and blood are soaring to the sky, and he doesn't know the origin. He has 5 dragon energy to protect his body. Even in the face of Brahma, who has 6 dragon energy, he has no fear at all. Boom! Fan Tianda slashed out the silver long sword in his hand, like a streak of silver horses across the void, and struck the creature resolutely. With a bang, the creature was shocked to retreat, and Fan Tianda was also shaken for a while. Retreating took a step. Obviously, the one-horned creature is also an extremely terrifying existence. Brahma is powerful, but it is only slightly better than the opponent. If it was a one-on-one situation, he would naturally be able to easily deal with the other party, but at this time, if he wanted to monopolize the Taiyin tree, he had to face all enemies. Put away your childishness. Money is popular in people's eyes, and treasures are in people's hearts. If you want to monopolize it, then use your strength to speak. The one-horned creature was shaken back, and another strong human race came over. His weapon was a long whip, made of unknown material. He shook his hand, and his murderous aura filled the sky. Heart-pounding and extremely fierce, it is obvious that this is a fierce soldier. Kill him together, and share the loot together. Someone roared and followed him. Boom, boom, boom. More than a dozen powerhouses besieged Fantian crazily. All of them were 5 meridian heavenly saints, and they were the top terrifying existences of all races. Their fighting power was astonishing, and even Long Chen was terrified by the terrifying aura. Damn, what are you doing? Why do they fight but I feel a little guilty? Long Chen couldn't help muttering when he saw this scene. Without the blessing of Tianmai Dragon Qi, Long Chen would be at a disadvantage in this realm. In the previous battle with Brahma, Long Chen did not dare to say that he would definitely be able to defeat him, but at least he had an 80% chance of winning. But now, Long Chen felt that if he had a one-on-one fight with Brahma, there was no hope of winning. Under the blessing of the 6 heavenly veins and dragon energy, the statue of Brahma gave birth to 6 divine brilliance, and the divine power poured into Brahma's body continuously. It can be said that his power is inexhaustible and inexhaustible. Although there are more than a dozen people on the other side, Long Chen is not optimistic about them. Because it won't take long for these people to be exhausted by Brahma, and eventually they have to retreat. If I can condense the dragon energy of 6 heavenly veins, no, even if I can condense the dragon energy of 5 heavenly veins, it won't make them so arrogant. Long Chen felt uncomfortable for a while, as if he was swimming in the shallows, and the tiger was falling into the sun. Boom, boom, boom. They were fighting fiercely, and the rabbits rushed back and forth in the void, but they couldn't rush into their battle circle. And there were more and more people around, and they began to hunt those rabbits crazily. Some forces formed hundreds of people to suppress a rabbit together, but they didn't wait for them to be happy. Boom! With a bang, the rabbit exploded, and the group of strong men who surrounded it were all blown into fly ash. After the rabbit exploded, Long Chen saw a divine light, returned to the enchantment, landed on the deadwood, led into the deadwood, and disappeared. Sure enough, they are not flesh and blood, but elves born from the Een tree. Long Chen was shocked when he saw this scene. In other words, this group of jade rabbits is the same as the golden crow in the chaotic space. As long as the power of the Tyene tree is not destroyed, they can live forever. Boom! Suddenly, a part of the tree crown of the lunar tree in the barrier collapsed, and the collapsed part instantly turned into fly ash. From the broken part, it could be seen that the lunar tree had decayed to the point where it was exhausted. People invaded the barrier, and the jade rabbits went out to fight, which accelerated the consumption of the Tyene tree. It seemed that this ancient tree would fall apart in a short time. Long Chen's face suddenly changed. The souls of these jade rabbits are attached to the rotten Tyene tree. If he can't take them away before the Tyene tree is destroyed, they will perish together with the Tyene tree. In order to protect the barrier, these jade rabbits attack frantically. After death, they will turn into spirits and return to the barrier. What they didn't know was that the more frantically they fought back, the more they accelerated the demise of the Tyene tree. I can't go on like this. Seeing this scene, Long Chen couldn't help but feel a little anxious. At this time, Brahma held a long sword and fought fiercely against all the masters. The blessing of the 6 Tianmai dragon energy is equivalent to opening up 6 channels for his vision. The power of faith is boundless, inexhaustible, and powerful enough to make people despair. The dozen or so people attacked wildly, but because they didn't know how to cooperate, they didn't trust each other. Even if there were some flaws in Brahma virtue, they couldn't catch them, which made Long Chen anxious. In fact, if Long Chen is in charge, he doesn't need so many people, only 5 of them can defeat Brahma. Boom, another piece of the lunar tree collapsed, and Long Chen couldn't bear it anymore. Damn it, I still have to take action. Boom, with a shocking explosion, Brahma's long silver sword slashed across the void, and the sword of the one-horned creature was slashed by his sword, and the one-horned creature spurted out a mouthful of blood. A group of drunks and rice bags dare to challenge the great son of Brahma. They are extremely stupid. If you don't want to die, just get out. With the power of a sword, Fan Tianda shouted loudly. Although he has the blessing of the Brahma statue, his power is continuous, but such a high-intensity battle requires too much physical and mental load. If the spirit cannot be highly concentrated, it will still be dangerous. Get lost, brothers. Fuck me. Boom, Long Chen's voice came from the void, and at the same time, a big hand held a brick and slammed on the back of Fan Tianda head. To the sky full of stars. Boom, immediately afterwards, his butt hurt, he was kicked flying, and he rushed towards the group of people involuntarily. The sudden change stunned everyone. Seeing Brahma's attack, these people did not even think about it, and violently resorted to killing moves. Brahma bodyguard. When Fan Tianda came to his senses, he was already in a dangerous situation, and it was too late to block him. With a roar, the divine light enveloped his body. Puff puff, more than a dozen sharp knives slashed at his body, the divine light exploded, and the blood splattered. Chapter 5576. Those dozen or so strong men, seeing Brahma Tianda flying towards them, didn't even think about cutting out the magical weapons in their hands. Although they didn't have time to accumulate energy and just shot instinctively, they were all extremely masters, and every blow would destroy the world. Precision. But their attack landed on Fan Tianda's body, barely cut through his protective divine light, cut his flesh and blood, but failed to cut it off. However, even though Brahma had used the strongest body-protecting magic, he was still wounded all over his body, with bones everywhere, which looked extremely scary. Don't stand still, let's kill him together, everyone will share the rabbits here equally. After Long Chen's blow, a figure flew out of the void, holding a huge axe that held up the sky, and slashed at Brahma. Long Chen. When Brahma saw Long Chen, his eyes almost burst into flames. Seeing Long Chen slashing with his giant axe, the silver long sword flew like a rainbow. Boom! There was a bang, and Long Chen's giant axe was chopped off by Fan Tianda's sword. Long Chen flew out with a muffled grunt, his tiger's mouth was cracked, and the corner of his mouth was bleeding. Squirt out. Damn it, with the blessing of 6 heavenly veins, this guy's strength has multiplied several times. Long Chen was shocked. Although he didn't use the power of the stars, and when Brahma was seriously injured, he also hit him casually. There is a huge difference in power between the two. Die. Fan Tianda sent Long Chen flying with his sword, his brows were upside down, and his killing intent was soaring. At this time, old and new hatred gathered in his heart, and with a roar he rushed straight to Long Chen. Boom! However, at this moment, the attacks of those strong men had been cut down like a violent storm. They didn't know Long Chen, but they saw that Long Chen didn't even condense a piece of Tianmai Dragon Qi, and even when he was blown away, there was no fluctuation in the power of Tianmai. This shows that Long Chen did not condense the Tianmai Dragon Qi at all, and did not hide his strength. In this way, Long Chen did not pose any threat to them. However, Long Chen was able to sneak attack successfully and won the opportunity for everyone. Naturally, they would not let go of this opportunity and broke out with all their strength. As for what Long Chen said, everyone divides the rabbits here equally, it is a joke to them. Even if Brahma is defeated, the rabbits here are still competing for each other based on personal strength. Splitting them equally is just a good wish. You all get out of my way. Seeing that he could kill Long Chen, he was ashamed, but he was resisted by these people. Fan Tianda was furious. He was severely injured, and he could no longer keep calm. With a loud bang, his blood burned and his 6 veins melted. Now the divine light under the package, his breath soared a lot. Boom, Brahma Tianda slashed out with a sword, and the power of faith ignited the sky. All the strong people suddenly felt an unstoppable force coming from them, and they were shocked to spurt blood and fly backwards. Go away, sister, boom. The moment Fan Tianda shook everyone, a brick appeared out of thin air and smashed hard on the back of his head. This blow was more ruthless than the last time. With a loud bang, Brahma was knocked staggeringly and ran forward involuntarily, the entire back of his head collapsed. Quick, race your chance. Long Chen succeeded in sneak attack and shouted loudly. But at this time, those strong men who were blown away immediately saw the opportunity and roared to kill them. Die, Fan Tianda was hit again, and his whole body was about to explode. There was a loud bang, and his divine power soared to the sky. However, after being injured continuously, he suddenly found that his divine power was failing. It was only then that he remembered that he had burned Tianmai Dragon Qi, and his big move was interrupted by Long Chen's attack, and he used the power of vision again, and there was a blockage. His aura has started to drop. Everyone, don't keep it, kill him. Everyone is a master. Seeing Brahma's embarrassing situation at a glance, they all gritted their teeth and rushed forward, burning their blood and dragon veins one by one, with a posture of success or success. One-eyed little brother, you continue to fight for us. Take the opportunity to sneak attack. Let's kill him together. Everyone will divide the rabbit equally. One person still did not forget to yell loudly. They can see that Long Chen is not strong enough, but he has a treasure in his hand, which is very difficult to deal with. They shouted on the one hand, to pull Long Chen into the camp, and on the other hand, to put pressure on Brahma. Boom boom boom. Everyone frantically fought Brahma virtue, but Long Chen had already used the invisibility ability of the Fantian seal to quietly approach the enchantment under everyone's feet. Split your sister equally. Once you stick your ass, I will know how many shits you will pull. Long Chen sneered in his heart, playing tricks with me, you are too young. Long Chen deliberately showed weakness before, just to let them have no worries, dare to fight Brahma, and don't have to guard against him. Now, the aura of Brahma's virtue has dropped, allowing them to see an opportunity. Seeing that the goal has been achieved, Long Chen quietly came to the front of the enchantment. He slowly stretched out his big hand to touch the enchantment. This time, the enchantment trembled slightly, and at this moment, the flames around the tying tree in Long Chen's chaotic space trembled suddenly, as if it had a reaction to the enchantment. Before Long Chen could make a move, the barrier produced a suction force, which directly sucked Long Chen into the barrier. Long Chen couldn't help but be overjoyed. After entering this enchantment, Long Chen immediately felt a wave of vast soul fluctuations. Respected strong man of the human race, please save my children. Long Chen was startled. He looked at the withered Taiyin tree in disbelief. He didn't expect that the Taiyin tree would have its own soul fluctuations. Obviously, it had already become a spirit. Senior, I came here to save you. I have magical soil that can rejuvenate you. Long Chen hurriedly said. Although Long Chen was attracted by these rabbits, Long Chen was not so greedy. He came here to make a deal with this Taiyin tree, using the soil of the chaotic space in exchange for some rabbits. Of course, he also has selfish intentions. He got some rabbits, and the Taiyin tree became stronger, so no one else could get the Taiyin jade rabbit, and he was still exclusive to one person. Respected strong man of the human race, I can feel your kindness, and I can also sense the power of the sun in your body. However, you are late. In order to protect these children, I have injected all my strength into their bodies. I have entered the last step of the path of transformation, and no one can save me. The Taiyin tree said. Long Chen didn't believe in evil and directly poured some soil into the foot of the Taiyin tree, but the Taiyin tree didn't fluctuate at all. Long Chen was surprised that his omnipotent chaos soil had failed. Don't waste your energy. Thank you for everything you have done for me. I only hope that you can save my child. There is nothing else to ask for. The Taiyin tree sighed, with pleading in his voice, like a dying Tugus mother, is sincere and touching. Seeing that even the soil of chaos could not save it, Long Chen had no choice but to take back the soil of chaos. Can I take a look at your Taiyin tree? See the children's new home in the future, so that I will feel more at ease when I leave. Taiyin tree said. Long Chen nodded. The power of the soul was connected with the soul of the Taiyin wood, and shared the picture of the chaotic space with it. At this moment, the rotting body of the Taiyin wood trembled suddenly, and then the Taiyin jade rabbits who were attacking frantically were recalled. With a bang, the lunar tree exploded, and the endless divine brilliance lit up the sky, and the invisible Long Chen appeared in front of everyone. Asshole! When Brahma and the others saw Long Chen, who had entered the barrier without a sound, and saw the wood of Taiyin burst, they roared and rushed towards Long Chen as if they were crazy. Chapter 5577. Brahma and the others were desperately working, but Long Chen entered the barrier alone. When they saw this scene, no matter how stupid they were, they knew that they had been tricked by Long Chen. For a moment, they roared and killed Long Chen, all of them looking crazy, because they saw that the moment the Taiyin wood exploded, endless light spots rushed towards Long Chen. Each point of light is a Taiyin jade rabbit. Except for Brahma, the others don't know what the Taiyin jade rabbit is, but they know that it is definitely a treasure, otherwise they wouldn't be so desperate. The endless lunar jade rabbit was sent into Long Chen's chaotic space under the last power of the lunar tree. This group of little fellows didn't seem to be enlightened yet, and they didn't know how to be sad. After entering the chaotic space, they immediately found Taiyin Linhai and rushed there frantically. The energy of the lunar tree was exhausted, and it gave them the last tenderness, and it just turned into fly ash. Senior, don't worry, follow me, and you won't humiliate them. Long Chen felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. A tree can have tender emotions, but the creatures outside who were beaten to death were more like a group of savage animals. Boom! Countless magical powers attacked Long Chen at the same time. Hand over baby, seeing the ferocious faces of this group of people, Long Chen curled his lips. My sister, I don't have time to play with you now, otherwise I promise to strip you down to the bottom of your trousers. Let's go, you guys play. Long Chen's figure flashed and disappeared instantly. Relying on the teleportation power of Fantion Seal, he teleported out directly. It has to be said that the power of space and teleportation that Fantion Seal comes with is against the sky. It comes with space and teleportation channels, and it is not affected by those attacks at all. Although Chen Kuanding said that if you encounter an extremely strong person, the teleportation ability and space power of the overturning seal will be invalid, but from the current point of view, this group of guys do not have that ability. Long Chen disappeared, all attacks were in vain, the Taiyin wood exploded, the barrier disappeared, and nothing was left on the battlefield except countless corpses. Long Chen, you bastard. After working so hard for a long time, in the end, Long Chen got the better of him. Brahma's lungs were about to explode, and he let out a roar that shook the sky. The others didn't know who Long Chen was, but the treasure had already been snatched away, and seeing Fan Tian's ferocious face about to eat people made them tremble with fear. They are very afraid of Brahma's virtue. On the one hand they are afraid of his strength, on the other hand they are afraid of the Brahma elixir behind him. Before, it was because of the treasure that they had to fight against Fan Tian. Now that the treasure was taken away, they turned around and ran away, fearing that Fan Tian would catch them. Let's go now. Brahma may not know the family, sect, and power they belong to. If they don't run now, when will they wait? Almost instantly, the besiegers of Fan Tian ran away without a trace, and Fan Tian became even more angry, and there was not even a single person who vented his anger. However, it was useless to be angry at this time. He suddenly waved his hand, and endless flames erupted. A group of guys who were watching the scene without long eyes were instantly swallowed by the flames, and turned into flying ash amidst the screams. Long Chen, you wait for me. After killing these people, Fan Tian's anger seemed to be released a little, and he roared and disappeared. Wow, brother Long Chen, you are too powerful. When the endless lunar jade rabbit entered the chaotic space, Huolinger, who had been concentrating on taking care of the golden crows, was suddenly startled. After these lunar jade rabbits entered the lunar forest, they greedily sucked the power of the lunar tree, and some lunar jade rabbits even ran directly into Huolinger's arms to absorb her power. Huolinger felt the pure flame power in the Tying jade rabbit's body, and she shouted excitedly, "With them, I can give full play to the power of the fire of the sun." It turned out that although she could directly use the power of the Tying tree before, the flame of the Tying tree was much worse than the sun's fire after all. The reason why there is such a big difference is because of the existence of the golden crows. With them, the fire of the sun will undergo a qualitative change, and its power is 1,000 times that of directly absorbing the power of the ancient Fusang wood. As for the fire of the sun and the fire of the yin, one is rigid to yang, and the other is yin to soft. If the two can be combined, the power will be enhanced by how much? But if you want to use two kinds of flames at the same time, you must give up the power of the golden crow, otherwise, the two cannot be integrated at all. But if the power of the golden crow is discarded, then the flames after the fusion of the lunar sun's fire are not as powerful as the sun's fire with the power of the golden crow added. Therefore, since the golden crow settled in the chaotic space, the Tying fire has no other ability except to replenish Huolinger's strength. Now, when the jade rabbit came in, whether it was the Tying jade rabbit or the Tying tree, they all showed great excitement. Their powers began to merge, just like the ancient Fusang would nourishing the golden crow. My dear rabbits, grow up quickly, my sister needs your strength, help me beat the bad guys. Huolinger gently stroked the Tying jade rabbit in her arms. Her pretty face was full of excited smiles. Long Chen was also very excited, the sun and the sun, who is weaker and who is stronger. Controlling two kinds of power at the same time, the power of the world-killing fire lotus may really destroy the world. Hey, that Brahma is probably going to be pissed off, quack quack. Long Chen knew that if Fan Tian lost this opportunity, he would go crazy with anger, not to mention how happy he was. Running wildly all the way, Long Chen took out the compass and continued to gallop towards the core area of the Tianmai profound realm. However, Long Chen soon discovered that there were fewer and fewer treasures around. Sometimes, he had clearly found the fluctuation of the treasures, but when Long Chen approached, they had already disappeared. Could it be that the treasure that Qingkuan Cauldron said can't be found and hidden by someone who is destined? Long Chen was startled. If this is the case, isn't it a little too fast? It's only been more than a month. According to Feng Xinyue, it will take half a year to a year for the Tianmai profound realm to open, and it has only been more than a month, so the treasure will not wait for anyone? Boom! There was a loud noise in front, and Long Chen flew towards him. He saw a group of people holding a huge net and caught a fierce tiger. The fierce tiger was as tall as a mountain, but it was caught by countless strong men, unable to move, and was quickly subdued. Seeing this scene, Long Chen couldn't help taking a deep breath. The tiger was a five-veined celestial sage. There were millions of strong men who rounded it up. Everyone's cultivation was above the three-veined celestial sage. The three of them are even more heavenly sages of the 5 meridians. The vigor and blood of the tiger was astonishing, but under the combined efforts of so many people to round it up, it didn't even have the slightest strength to fight back. Their improvement speed is too fast. If this continues, I will soon be a man with my tail between my legs. Long Chen was secretly shocked. These people are either monsters sealed in ancient times, or the top Tianjiao of the contemporary era. In the past, no matter how many heavenly saints you have, Long Chen could kill you with a single slap. But now the strength of these arrogances has far surpassed the powerhouses of the God-Emperor realm outside, and when they step out of the heavenly vein profound realm, the whole world will probably be overturned. Long Chen didn't expect that the increase of a Tianmai dragon qi to the heavenly sage could reach such a perverted level. Now Long Chen understands that under the changes of the heavenly Tao, people in this era are all the children of destiny, and they cannot use the power of the former powerhouses. Standards to measure them against. The change brought about by one dragon vein is almost equivalent to the improvement of several small realms, but Long Chen has not yet figured out the specific situation. After all, he has not yet condensed his own dragon energy. Just as Long Chen was thinking wildly, suddenly the fierce tiger let out a scream and was killed. Long Chen moved and rushed over with a brick. Chapter 5578, Bang Bang Bang. The bricks were like lightning, and the 3 leaders were all shot, and the tiger that had just been killed was instantly included in the chaotic space by Long Chen. Court death, attacking 3 people at the same time, the strength was scattered, and the other party was the 5 meridian heavenly sage, so they couldn't seriously injure them, so the 3 shot at the same time. So fast, Long Chen was startled. The 3 of them cooperated seamlessly, distorting the void in an instant. Before Long Chen had time to activate his own space of shaking heaven seal, he was forced to come out. The 3 divine soldiers slashed at Long Chen at the same time, and the 5-veined heavenly saint powerhouse hit with all their strength, gathered together and condensed into a rope. Obviously, these 3 people are very good at cooperating. Boom! The thunder shield summoned by Long Chen was smashed by the 3 of them, and Long Chen flew out with a muffled groan. "Brother Long Chen, I'll help you." At this moment, Huolinger's voice sounded in Long Chen's mind. Seeing that Long Chen was suffering, Huolinger became a little anxious. "No, you can concentrate on taking care of the golden crow jade rabbit, I can handle it." Long Chen responded. At this time, Huolinger was completely incapable of being distracted, and the golden crows were in the stage of rapid promotion, so they couldn't do without its care. And those jade rabbits have just entered the chaotic space and merged into the wood of Tyene. These jade rabbits are different from the golden crow. They have not yet enlightened their spirits and have no wisdom. To make them exert their power, they need to be born with wisdom. For them to be born with wisdom, Huolinger needs to feed them with his own soul power, which is a huge consumption for Huolinger. Qianquan Cauldron, Yaoyue Cauldron, Dragon Bone Shiyue, Fantian Yin are all asleep, and Huolinger has so many tasks. The only one who can help Long Chen is Leilinger. Although Leilinger is also growing rapidly, if she faces a 5-veined heavenly saint, she can fight alone. But the joint blow of the 3 5-veined heavenly saints is not something she can bear at all. However, if she can offset part of the strength for Long Chen will be much more relaxed and suffer a little loss, but will not be injured. Long Chen wanted to activate the space power of the Shattering Seal, but found that its space power had become unstable, and Long Chen was unable to activate the rune for a while. Xiao Tian has also entered a critical moment. Seeing this scene, Long Chen's heart skipped a beat. Qianquan Ding said that when Xiaoshen's runes began to become dull, it meant that it needed a huge amount of power to improve itself, and it had entered the most critical moment. In this way, Long Chen simply sent the Fantian seal into the chaotic space, holding a broadsword that he didn't know where he got it, and slashed behind him with a sword. Boom, a sword slashed down. just hit the attack of a 5-meridian celestial sage. With a bang, and with the help of the other party's strength, Long Chen immediately galloped away like a meteor. Long Chen circulated the power of the stars, unloaded part of the other party's power, and borrowed part of it at the same time, but the power of the 5-meridian celestial saint was too strong, which shocked Long Chen's chest with severe pain, and almost spit out a mouthful of blood. With the passage of time, Long Chen found that the power of these people's Tianmai dragon energy has been soaring rapidly, and the power of destiny has also made a qualitative leap. Their Tianmai dragon aura is not at the same level as the outside world's Tianmai dragon aura. There is a world of difference. I can't go on like this. Long Chen was a little anxious. These guys' Tianmai dragon chi was not only getting more and more, but also getting stronger. This shows that the laws of the Tianmai profound realm are changing, and they are constantly nourishing their Tianmai dragon chi. If this continues, it won't be long, not to mention the 5-meridian saints. Even the 3-meridian heavenly saints will need Long Chen to do his best. When all out, Long Chen never thought that in the Tianmai profound realm, every burst of Tianmai dragon chi is equivalent to raising a realm, and there will be a qualitative leap in strength. Long Chen was very anxious, but the Qiankuan cauldron hadn't awakened yet, and the Chaos Dragon Emperor didn't give him any advice, which meant that it wasn't time for him to condense the dragon energy of the sky. Stop! A group of people frantically chased Long Chen from behind. They were murderous, gnashing their teeth one by one, wishing to bite Long Chen to death. At this time, Long Chen couldn't use Xiaoshen's invisibility and teleportation ability, so he could only rely on his personal strength to run. Long Chen's speed was fast, but the speed of this group of people was not slow. They clung to Long Chen's back and couldn't get rid of. Trouble. Long Chen's heart trembled. Relying on Xiaoshen's teleportation ability all the time, Long Chen didn't feel the changes in the laws of the world. Now that he was running wildly, Long Chen felt a strong resistance. The endless runes of heaven and earth gathered together, which made Long Chen's speed much slower. And this group of people, because of the blessing of Tianmai dragon energy, their speed has increased a lot. The speed that Long Chen has always been proud of can't exert any advantage at this time. Damn one-eyed dragon, you finally came out, kill. Long Chen was running all the way, when suddenly someone roared in front of him, and Long Chen saw that it was a force that he had robbed before. As soon as they saw Long Chen, their eyes turned red and they roared angrily. When Long Chen saw that something was wrong, he immediately flew in another direction. In the end, they didn't run very far, and a group of people came in front of them. When they saw their clothes, Long Chen didn't even think about it, and changed direction again. It's him, stop for me. As soon as Long Chen appeared, the group of people discovered Long Chen, and their murderous intent shot up to the sky, roaring and killing Long Chen. Nima, why are you so unlucky? All you meet are old clients. Long Chen was speechless for a while. Long Chen ran wildly in front, followed by countless strong men chasing after him. One day later, there were dozens of teams behind Long Chen, with tens of millions of people, including human races, blood races, monster races, and various races that he had never seen before. All joined the team chasing and killing Long Chen. Long Chen turned his head to look at the group of people. Even though Long Chen was daring, he couldn't help but feel his scalp tingle at this moment. There are hundreds of them, all of whom have blood-red eyeballs. They bared their teeth and looked like they were about to bite. Posture. If they were caught up, it would really be over. They were all robbed by Long Chen and hated him to the bone. Now that they finally saw Long Chen, how could they let him go? Long Chen has a lot of tricks, but there is no way at this time. He can only wait for Qian Kuan-ding and others to wake up. All previous efforts were wasted. The same is true for Qian Kuan-ding, Dragon Bone Shiyue and Yao Yue-ding. Now, Long Chen can only delay with them, hoping that they will eventually lose patience and give up chasing. But one day passed, and instead of reducing the number of enemies, more than a dozen forces increased. Sweat dripped from Long Chen's forehead. For the first time, he realized what a street mouse is. Fortunately, Lei Linger is powerful, and the strength of Thunder's wings is still increasing, and the speed is getting faster and faster. The distance was gradually opened again. Long Chen reckoned that he could get rid of them all in a day or so, but that was only when everything went well, so don't be blocked. Long Chen ran wildly, and suddenly a black spot came in front of him rapidly. When he saw the black spot, Long Chen couldn't help but be ecstatic. Emonian, Long Chen didn't expect to see Emonian here, and Emonian also saw Long Chen at this time. The eyes of the two were full of ecstasy, and they shouted loudly at the same time, "Brother, help." After the two shouted, their faces suddenly changed, because they saw the endless crowd behind each other at the same time, and then looked at each other's cultivation base. Grass grip. Chapter 5579. Long Chen saw that Emonian was the same as himself, not to mention a dragon vein. He didn't even condense the dragon hair, although he also knew that the dragon had no hair. And Emonian has another point, exactly like him, the crowd who also follow Wiang behind them, all of them have fierce eyes and grit their teeth. Originally, when Long Chen saw Emonian, he thought he had finally seen his savior, but now he saw that his situation was not much better than his own. The same is true for Emonian. He was hunted down by a group of people. When he saw Long Chen, he couldn't help being overjoyed, thinking that he was finally saved. However, seeing Long Chen's cultivation, and seeing behind Long Chen, there were more enemies than himself. His face turned green. The most frightening thing was that countless strong men behind the two surrounded them like a fan. The two fans just formed an encircling circle, trapping the two of them to death in an instant. "What's the matter?" Long Chen and Emonian yelled almost at the same time. However, since they both asked each other, there was nothing to ask. "Work together to fight out," Long Chen yelled, and at the same time, the 8-star battle body was opened, the divine ring exploded, and the heavy sword was in hand, and the stars appeared all over the sky. At this time, there was no way but to desperately. Emonian also summoned a vision, holding a long bow, and together with Long Chen, rushed towards the weakest place in the encirclement. Puff puff, the power of the stars exploded, the broad sword flew, and Long Chen burst out with all his strength. No one could stop him. "Stop them, let them die today," someone roared, and the 5 Meridian Heavenly Saint-level powerhouses saw this scene and yelled crazily. Their hatred for Long Chen and Emonian went deep into the bone marrow. Boom! Long Chen and Emonian broke through crazily, but there were too many enemies, and they fought desperately. The two finally failed to break through before closing the siege. "This is a big game." Emonian couldn't help crying. Boom boom boom. Long Chen and Emonian crazily fought against the powerhouses from all walks of life. At this time, the other powerhouses retreated one after another, making room for the 5-veined heavenly saints to deal with the two. The rest of the powerhouses surrounded the entire battlefield, and they didn't need to participate in the battle. They only needed to surround the two of them to prevent them from escaping. "You two beasts, today is your day of death, and this is the place where you will be buried." A man roared, and a spear in his hand came through the mouth. Boom! The épée in Long Chen's hand struck the man fiercely, and with a bang, Long Chen and the man backed up at the same time. "This won't work, we have to explain here." Emonian fluttered the longbow in his hand, and the bowstring was surging. He only defended but not attacked, and tried his best to relieve Long Chen's pressure. The longbow is a magic weapon for long-range attacks. In close combat, it can't exert its real power, but Emonian can use the elasticity of the bowstring to defend, and even transfer the attack. In this way, the two of them can be kept safe for a while. But there are too many enemies. There are hundreds of Wumai Tianxing alone, and tens of millions of other strong people. At this time, they can be said to be in a desperate situation. "Aren't you the best at escaping? Hurry up and find a way." Long Chen shouted. "I'm in a very embarrassing moment now, I can't escape." Emonian yelled while frantically resisting the attack. "Nima, don't think about it, Emonian is also in a very embarrassing situation just like Long Chen." Boom boom boom. The power of Long Chen's stars was burning, and at this moment he didn't dare to hold back anything. The power of the stars was running to the extreme. However, the enemy was too strong. Long Chen wanted to use his fighting skills to rush out several times, but was blocked several times. Long Chen has never been afraid of group battles, but that is only when the strength of each other is equal. Their Tianmai Dragon Chi suppresses Long Chen too strongly. Boom! Suddenly there was a loud bang, and the broadsword in Long Chen's hand exploded when he was fighting with others. The broadsword exploded, and Long Chen was shocked. After all, this extremely high-grade divine weapon couldn't hold on anymore. Die! Seeing the broadsword in Long Chen's hand burst open, the powerhouses who besieged the two, seeing the opportunity coming, roared angrily, and the battle circle tightened in an instant. Damn fight! As soon as Emon Yen gritted his teeth, his chi and blood suddenly sank. Long Chen was taken aback. Long Chen felt that this guy was going to burn his life essence. Do not impulse, Long Chen yelled. No matter how he entered the trough, he could not burn his lifespan. As soon as Long Chen gritted his teeth, he would forcibly wake up the Qiankuan cauldron, and only the Qiankuan cauldron could force them out. Puff puff! Just at this moment, blood splattered in front of him suddenly, and the bodies of countless strong men burst into pieces. Immediately after the golden light, a golden chariot rushed directly into the battlefield under the pull of 3 colorful tigers. 6th grade God Emperor Monster Beast. When seeing the 3 mountain-like fierce tigers, Long Chen and Emon Yen screamed at the same time. Such a terrifying monster was subdued by people and willingly pulled the cart. Boom! The chariot roared towards it, unstoppable. The terrifying coercion made the world tremble, and all strong men who stood in front of it were ruthlessly crushed. The chariot was extremely heavy, and it was obviously floating above the void, but when the wheels rolled, the ground below collapsed. From the tight chains on the 3 tigers, it can be seen that this golden chariot is an extremely terrifying divine weapon, and it can directly crush the 3-veined heavenly sage just by its coercion. Suddenly such a terrifying existence appeared, everyone was horrified, and instinctively retreated. At this time, the golden chariot was crushing straight at Long Chen and Emon Yen. If it was crushed, the flesh and blood would be crushed instantly. The heavenly sages of the 5 meridians who besieged Long Chen and the 2 were also frightened and ran away. Long Chen and Emon Yen wanted to escape, but it was too late. As soon as Long Chen gritted his teeth, even if he didn't use the Qiankuan cauldron, he couldn't do it at this time, and when Long Chen made a move, a familiar voice came from his ear. Don't resist, we are here to save you. At this moment, on the golden chariot, a golden light shot towards Long Chen and Emon Yen. Snapped, Long Chen grabbed Emon Yen's arm. The golden light enveloped the 2 of them, and their figures disappeared in an instant. Boom! Pulled by the 3 fierce tigers, the terrifying golden chariot roared away and disappeared in an instant. At the beginning, the strong men who besieged Long Chen were attracted by the golden chariot, and they were still guessing what the owner of the chariot meant, when suddenly someone exclaimed. Only then did they realize that Long Chen and Emon Yen had disappeared, and they all screamed angrily, but the chariot had disappeared, and they couldn't catch up if they wanted to. The most important thing is, to be able to catch 6th-rank God Emperor level monsters to pull chariots, how strong must the owner of the golden chariot be? Even if they could catch up, they wouldn't dare to catch up. In the end, he could only grit his teeth and fart out the anger in his stomach. Fairy Feng Fei. On the golden chariot, Emon Yen was shocked when he saw this beautiful woman with a slender figure and noble temperament. Chapter 5580. They are both old friends of Tianwu. Feng Fei also knows Emon Yen. Emon Yen also knows Feng Fei. Although the 2 have no intersection, they know each other. Emon Yen had a great reputation in the Tianwu continent, and he had a good relationship with Long Chen. At that time, the relationship between Feng Fei and Long Chen was relatively ambiguous. It was an enemy rather than an enemy, a friend rather than a friend. Naturally, he had to grasp all the information about Long Chen. The same is true for Emon Yen. Feng Fei, as the strongest arrogance of the 4 great god clans, naturally knows it all. And Emon Yen never imagined that the person who rescued them today was actually Feng Fei. Unexpectedly, you still remember me. It's a great honor. Seeing that Emon Yen still recognized her, Feng Fei smiled slightly. After all, she was an old friend of Tianwu, and now everyone has no conflicts and can be regarded as friends. Thank you, Fairy Feng Fei, you appeared too timely, otherwise, the two of us would probably be beaten into meatloaf. Long Chen said gratefully. Although Long Chen still has a whole card, once the whole card is moved, the loss will be immeasurable. The Qiankuan Ding, but the trump card he relies on most, has missed the opportunity to be promoted, and what awaits Long Chen in the future will be an endless crisis of death. Is he the Long Chen you mentioned? At this moment, a group of people came over, and Long Chen and Emon Yen had time to look around. They were in a luxurious hall. The golden chariot had its own space, and the hall was magnificent. A group of people came over. There were dozens of them. The leader was a tall man with a phoenix crown on his head and an indifferent face. Beautiful woman. This woman's face is like white jade, her eyes are like stars, her red lips are bright on the outside, her teeth are bright on the inside, and her facial features are as exquisite as if carved by heaven, but this girl is beautiful, but she is too cold. She has a noble temperament, fascinates all living beings, and also has a kind of arrogance that looks down on the world and looks down on the universe, as if all living beings within 9 days, no one can enter her eyes. What shocked Long Chen and Emon Yen was that the woman's whole body was turbulent, and the dragon energy was rising, and 7 dragon shadows could be seen faintly, and the two were shocked. 7 meridians heavenly sage, this is the most powerful heavenly sage that Long Chen and Emon Yen have ever seen in the heavenly vein profound realm. No wonder they can control 3 6th grade God Emperor level monsters. The strength of the emotional family is here. Behind the woman, there were dozens of strong men, and the one with the worst cultivation was also the heavenly sage of the 5 meridians. Seeing this posture, even Long Chen couldn't help but gasp. He knew that the person in front of him must be the arrogance of the Protoss Jiang family. Although he also guessed that the Jiang family's background was amazing, he did not expect it to be so terrifying. At this time, the woman was looking at the two of them coldly, while the other Jiang family's Tianjiao looked at the sarcasm on the corners of their mouths, and their eyes were full of disdain. Long Chen, let me introduce you. This is Jiang Yue, the peerless genius of our Jiang family who won the title of Goddess of War in the era of chaos. Seeing the woman coming, Feng Fei hurriedly introduced her to Long Chen. Although the other party was arrogant, but after all, he saved him, Long Chen clasped his hands together and said, "Thank you, Fairy Yue, for saving me." Long Chen has remembered this kindness. Jiang Yue didn't return the gift. She looked up and down at Long Chen, then at Emon Yen, and then at Long Chen and said indifferently, "It looks good, but its strength is mediocre. It has been so long since the Tianmai profound realm has been opened, but its strength has not increased at all. The other one is not only mediocre in strength, but even more mediocre in appearance. Feng Fei, you have let me down a bit." Being evaluated by Jiang Yue like this, Long Chen was speechless for a while, but at least he still has a good appearance, which is better than Emon Yen. Emon Yen's entire face froze, and he wanted to speak out to refute, but he didn't know what to say. For a while, the scene became extremely awkward. "Sister Yue, Long Chen is very strong, they have not been promoted, there must be their own reasons." Feng Fei hurriedly said, No, in fact, we have always been weak, but because of our good looks, we usually rely on one face to walk in the rivers and lakes." Facing Jiang Yu's cold arrogance, Long Chen didn't make any excuses, just do what you say. He relies on his face for food, so what do you rely on? Long Chen's answer surprised Jiang Yue, and she couldn't help but look at Emon Yen. Emon Yen was speechless for a while, and without thinking about it, he said directly, "I live on shamelessness." "Hey Feng Fei, thank you very much today. I will write down this favor. In order to build a harmonious world, we will not stay any longer. We will see you again when we have a chance." Long Chen said to Feng Fei. Feng Fei could also tell that something was wrong with the atmosphere of the chat, so instead of turning good things into bad things, she nodded hurriedly and waved her jade hand. The figures of Long Chen and Emon Yen disappeared from the hall in an instant. "Feng Fei, is he really as strong as you said?" Feng Fei sent Long Chen and Emon Yen away. Jiang Yue couldn't help frowning and said, "These two people don't have the demeanor of a master at all, and they don't have the arrogance and majesty that a master should have. How can they bear such humiliation? Obviously, Feng Fei mentioned Long Chen's name more than once in front of Jiang Yue. Jiang Yue was also very curious about Long Chen, but this meeting was very disappointing. Feng Fei smiled wryly and said, "Sister Yue, as I said, he is a very special person. I can't describe how special he is, but I believe that you will soon see his true colors." Currently used, the app with the most complete and best listening sounds, integrated with 4 speech synthesis engines, over 100 kinds of timbres, and an artifact that supports offline reading, Huanyuan app. Org source app. I'm afraid that when I see him again, he will be completely different. Someone said disdainfully, obviously, they also look down on Long Chen. Don't be afraid of being completely unrecognizable, just be afraid that you will be dead by then. Another person taunted. Obviously, they all felt that their own safety would be a problem if the two of them continued like this. Just like today, if Feng Fei hadn't made a move, the two of them would surely have died. After hearing their ridicule, Feng Fei's face remained unchanged, and she smiled slightly. As Sister Yu's think tank, I still have this bit of confidence. If you like to taunt, you can taunt, as long as you don't feel hurt when the time comes. Jiang Fengfei had already given up the cultivation method of competing with the Tianjiao. She chose to become the attachment of the strong, and the object of her attachment was this Jiang Yue. Feng Fei is extremely intelligent, wise, and steady. Even though she has many followers, Jiang Yue still holds Feng Fei in high regard and trusts her. These strong people behind Jiang Yue are all the arrogance of the ancient seal. They were Jiang Yu's followers in the chaotic era, so they have a certain degree of hostility and jealousy towards Feng Fei. This golden chariot is one of Jiang Yu's strongest magic weapons, but Feng Fei is in control. It would be a lie to say that they are not jealous. You should pray that they are not eaten by a powerful beast when they fall. The person who was refuted immediately refused to accept it and retorted. Feng Fei is my military advisor, and her words represent my words. If you don't agree, feel free to refute, but don't speak in a weird way. I don't like it very much. Jiang Yue said coldly. Seeing Jiang Yu's displeasure, the man immediately didn't dare to say anything, but his eyes were full of anger. Obviously, he felt that Jiang Yue was too partial to Feng Fei. Let's go straight to the destination. Jiang Yue said. I think you can wait a little longer, and then go to compete with Long Zhe after you have advanced to the 8 meridians, Feng Fei said. Jiang Yue shook her head and said, I can't wait anymore. Waiting means fear and lack of confidence. Waiting will only disturb my Tao heart. Feng Fei nodded, immediately corrected the direction of the chariot, and galloped away. Long Chen, that monster Long Zhe is there. A powerful existence like Sister Yue was once defeated by him, so please don't come here. Feng Fei prayed silently in her heart. Chapter 5581. Brother, what's the situation with you? This time it's completely overturned, and you will be despised by others, and you will be ashamed and thrown home. Mo Nian couldn't help complaining as the two of them sat there dejectedly on a steep rock in a high mountain. Having just gone through a bloody battle, the two of them were already exhausted in the face of so many attacks from 5 meridian celestial saints. After being rescued, they were suffocated by Jiang Yu's proud attitude. Long Chen spread his hands and said helplessly, Then what can I do? I haven't met the conditions to condense the dragon energy of Tianmai. I guess you are the same. What's wrong? I haven't found the source of immeasurableness, which is the original treasure of my lineage of immeasurable palace. I need to find it so that I can condense the exclusive Tianmai dragon chi of the boundless lineage. However, I have searched for it for so many days under the earth, but there is no clue. As soon as I came out to take a breath, I encountered a group of lunatics who came to chase me down. I didn't know them at all. Mo Nian said with an aggrieved face. Long Chen looked at Mo Nian with contempt. Who would believe this? There are countless opportunities in the Tianmai profound realm. Who would chase and kill someone for no reason and give up the opportunity to hunt for treasure? It must be that Mo Nian did something outrageous and resentful, so he was hunted down desperately. Before entering the Tianmai Xian realm, when Mo Nian opened his mouth, someone came out angrily, and he knew that Mo Nian was in the Tianyuan world, and there must be no bad things. Do less. What's your situation? Why did you provoke so many people? Mo Nian asked. Just like you, I was unlucky and met a lunatic. Long Chen said angrily. Mo Nian blushed suddenly, knowing that Long Chen didn't believe what he said, but when he thought that Long Chen must have done nothing good, everyone was in the same place, and no one had the right to laugh at anyone else. Okay, I have to continue to go underground to find opportunities that belong to my boundless lineage. If I find something good, I will keep it for you. Mo Nian stood up and said. At this time, he had just experienced a great battle and needed rest the most, but in order to find the opportunity of the boundless lineage as soon as possible, he did not dare to delay in the slightest. Underground? The opportunity of your infinite lineage is underground? Long Chen asked. It's not good, my wicked master said that my chances are always in the underground, so I live in the dark all day long. Mo Nian said with a mournful face. The most annoying thing is that I have no idea about the opportunities of the boundless lineage. I only know that there are bound to be countless treasures around the boundless opportunity, but just relying on this clue, trying to find it is tantamount to finding a needle in a haystack. Do I have to turn over the entire Tianmai Xianjing? Speaking of this, Mo Nian was annoyed for a while. The difficulty was too great. Underground, wait a minute. Maybe this thing is useful to you. After Long Chen finished speaking, he took out the treasure hunting roulette. When Mo Nian saw the treasure hunting roulette, his eyes straightened. Obviously, Mo Nian, who has dealt with this kind of treasure all his life, saw its use at a glance. Brother, you are really my real brother, I need this thing so much. Mo Nian took the treasure hunting roulette, his voice trembling with excitement. Mo Nian has special supernatural powers, and can travel underground to find treasures, but even if Mo Nian is good at observing wind and water, and is proficient in the way of earth veins, he can still judge whether there are treasures nearby from some clues. But even if it is judged that there is a treasure, it will take a certain amount of time to find it accurately. Now that he has this treasure hunting roulette, it can be said to be even more powerful for him. You must know that this treasure hunting roulette can only exert its greatest power in his hands. Not only can he accurately locate the position of the treasure from the fluctuation of the roulette, but he can even know the shape and attributes of the treasure from the changes in the runes, which even Long Chen can't do even if he is killed. After getting the treasure hunting roulette, Mo Nian almost hugged Long Chen and kissed him, which was like a timely gift. Since you have the treasure hunting roulette, you should rest for half a day before leaving, otherwise in your current state, if you encounter a strong enemy, you will die. Long Chen reminded. Hey, I was being chased before, that was my carelessness, I will never let this happen again. In addition, in this Tianmai profound realm, there are countless Tianjiao and monsters are rampant. You see, Jiang Yue is already a Qimai heaven sage. We must also gather Tianmai as soon as possible. Otherwise, if they reach the realm of the 9 meridians heavenly sage, I am afraid that there will be no room for you and me in the entire Tianmai Xian realm, and when the time comes, they can only watch others take it away. Mo Nian said. Long Chen nodded. Mo Nian was right. This Jiang Yu's strength was extremely terrifying, although she hadn't fought, but she stood in front of Long Chen. The strong sense of oppression was simply suffocating. Currently used, the app with the most complete and best listening sounds, integrated with 4 speech synthesis engines, over 100 kinds of timbers, and an artifact that supports offline reading. Huanyuan app. Org Source app. The stronger the Tianjiao, the stronger the Tianmai dragon energy condensed, and now Mo Nian and Long Chen are indeed too dangerous. Mo Nian and Long Chen patted each other's shoulders, and after saying take care, Mo Nian galloped away and disappeared instantly. But Long Chen was not in such a hurry. He needed to make some adjustments, found a hidden place, arranged the phantom array, and started to adjust his breath. In this battle, Long Chen was exhausted. The power of the dragon blood, the power of the purple blood, the power of the 7-color supreme blood, and the power of the stars were almost exhausted. There are too many enemies, and Mo Nian is not good at close combat. It can be said that he bears most of the attacks. Relying on the fact that the opponent has a large number of people, and seeing that the two of them have no power to counterattack, they can go all out to kill without any worries. Fortunately, these people were eager to win and attacked frantically. As a result, the battle circle was very small, causing Long Chen and the two to only bear attacks from a few people at a time, forming a wheel battle. If this group of people were not so impatient, they would keep a distance apart, hundreds of people would attack at the same time, and their strength would condense together. Long Chen and Mo Nian would not even be able to withstand a single move. Of course, these people are attacking so wildly that they actually want to catch them alive, especially Long Chen's enemies. They know that the treasures in Long Chen's hands must be piled up like a mountain. Grabbing a living Long Chen is equivalent to capturing a mobile treasure house. The greed of these people saved Long Chen's life, but this battle was too thrilling, and both Long Chen and Mo Nian had some fears. After making all preparations, Long Chen began to calm down, slowly closed his eyes, and stars appeared all over his body. Among the many forces, he gave priority to recovering the power of the stars. On the one hand, it was because his power of the stars was the most powerful. On the one hand, the recovery of the power of the stars is also the fastest. Buzz! The sea of stars slowly emerged behind Long Chen, but what surprised Long Chen was that his vision of the stars fluctuated violently. At the same time, Long Chen clearly felt that the endless energy of the stars was rushing towards him. The power of this star is extremely pure, which Long Chen has never encountered before. If it is only pure, it doesn't matter. After all, this is the Tianmai profound realm. However, the power of the stars did not come from the 9 heavens, but from Long Chen's right front. At that moment, Long Chen's heart beat wildly. This is my chance to condense the dragon energy of the Tianmai. Chapter 5582 Excited. While recovering the power of the stars, Long Chen took out a piece of purple crystal and looked in that direction. This purple crystal is exactly the purple crystal sky eye. Before that, Long Chen had been busy hunting for treasures, and he always used the treasure hunting roulette, so he never used it. Oh my God! When Long Chen looked forward through the purple crystal sky pupil, what he saw was a sea of stars, and he trembled with excitement. It was a vast blue lake, and I don't know how it was formed. The surface of the lake was as smooth as a mirror, but inside the lake was a sea of stars. It is like the skylight of the world, through which you can see the bright starry sky. Above the lake, the immortal energy is transpiring, and the power of heaven is lingering, which can be seen with the naked eye, and the endless laws of heaven and earth are circulating. Around the lake, there were countless figures entrenched there, absorbing the ripples on the lake surface. Their whole bodies were filled with the aura of Tianmai dragon, and Long Chen found that there were faint stars flickering in their Tianmai dragon chi. At that moment, Long Chen was stunned. Isn't this lake of stars just his chance? It's all Lao Tzu's. Long Chen shouted excitedly. Long Chen circulated the power of the stars and quickly recovered his physical strength. After a few hours, Long Chen's power of the stars recovered about 80%, and he couldn't bear it anymore, and went straight to the lake of stars. Before, Chen Kuan-ding told him that if he wanted to condense the dragon energy of Tianmai, he had to find his own opportunity. And Long Chen asked it, what is his opportunity? At least let him have a direction to work hard. But Chen Kuan-ding told him that when the opportunity arises, he will naturally know it. Only now did Long Chen understand the meaning of the Chen Kuan-ding. This lake of stars was the opportunity for him to condense the dragon energy of the sky, and he was absolutely sure. However, since it was his chance, it was very strange why there was no intention of summoning him, and he didn't feel any induction. Long Chen galloped forward rapidly, and with the purple crystal sky pupil, it looked close at hand, but Long Chen flew for 3 full hours before he saw the edge of the lake of stars. This lake of stars is bigger than Long Chen imagined, and with the naked eye, it is almost boundless. Go away, heavenly demon territory, anyone who gets close will die. However, before Long Chen came to the lake, space fluctuations hit, and someone here actually arranged an enchantment to intercept outsiders. Boom! How could Long Chen get used to its faults? The Sky Demon Alliance and him were neither friends nor foes, so Long Chen didn't need to have any scruples at all. When he grabbed the air with his big hand, the barrier exploded. This enchantment is just used by the Sky Demon clan to warn others that there is already a master here, and if they want to get close to the Lake of Stars, they have to change places, so this enchantment is not strong. Long Chen tearing up the enchantment is tantamount to ignoring the other party's warning and challenging the other party. Stupid human race, you are looking for death. Long Chen had just rushed through the enchantment, and suddenly there was a roar, and a strong man covered in black scales and full of demonic aura came to kill Long Chen. Hi, 9 Serenity Python? You actually joined the Sky Demon Alliance? Long Chen didn't expect that this group of people turned out to be the Black Rock 9 Serenity Python clan that Long Chen had encountered before. The Black Rock 9 Serene Python used to have a feud with Long Chen, but the Black Rock 9 Serene Python in front of him was not the lowly creatures he had encountered back then. The fact that these strong men from the Haiyan 9 Serenity Python family can guard the edge of the barrier shows that they are just small soldiers standing guard, but they have already condensed 3 dragon chi of the heavenly veins, and their chi and blood are amazing. Stupid, I, the Black Rock 9 Serenity Python clan, have been a member of the Heavenly Demon Alliance since its establishment, and I will join whatever it is called. Seeing that Long Chen recognized their identities, one of them couldn't help hesitating for a moment and shouted coldly. Whatever you talk to him, if you dare to ignore the warning of the Haiyan 9 Serenity Python clan and destroy the barrier, it will be regarded as a provocation and kill him. A strong man from the Haiyan 9 Serenity Python family had a fiery temper and didn't intend to stop at all. Holding a steel fork and carrying a whistling wind, he stabbed at Long Chen. Puff! Long Chen took a step and passed him. The strong head of the Black Rock 9 Serenity Python clan soared into the sky. No one could see how Long Chen did it. They even saw that Long Chen was empty-handed. No weapons were used at all. Long Chen killed that strong man, and the rest of the Black Rock 9 Serenity Python family's strong men were startled and angry, and their murderous aura shot to the sky. Puff puff, Long Chen's figure flickered, thunder light flickered, and the strong men of the Black Rock 9 Serenity Python clan froze, and a blood hole appeared on the center of everyone's eyebrows. Their eyes were full of unbelievable expressions, and then their bodies slowly fell to the ground, and their consciousness fell into darkness. Pretty Long Chen greatly praised, Lei Linger's thunder power became stronger and stronger, and at this moment, a small thunder dagger at his fingertips slowly disappeared. It's thanks to Brother Long Chen who disassembled so many corpses. Lei Linger was excited when she heard Long Chen's praise. During this period of time, Long Chen kept throwing all kinds of corpses into the chaotic space. All the thunder power released by these god-level monsters was swallowed by her, and her strength soared crazily. These god-level monsters have experienced the God Emperor's catastrophe. After the catastrophe baptism, their bodies and bones have the brand of the catastrophe. When the black soil swallows them, these brands will be released. They are not thunder-type monsters. The thunder power contained in the thunder mark is not too much, but it is extremely pure. After absorbing enough thunder marks, Lei Linger's thunder power has undergone a qualitative change. The power of thunder has become more solid, and the thunder weapon she condensed has amazing destructive power. Boom! However, the killing of those powerful members of the Black Rock 9 Serenity Python family immediately caused a huge commotion. Countless figures rushed toward Long Chen from the direction of the Lake of Stars like a tide. At this time, Long Chen had already seen the Lake of Stars, and in the Lake of Stars, the endless stars suddenly swayed, as if it had also seen Long Chen. At that moment, a strong sense of intimacy and calling rose in Long Chen's heart. Looking at the powerhouses of the Black Rock 9 Serenity Python family who were bathing on the edge of the Lake of Stars and absorbing energy, Long Chen suddenly became murderous. A bunch of dirty worms, you dare to desecrate this Lake of Stars? Go to death. Long Chen opened his big hand, and the divine light lit up. It was like a round of sun blooming from Long Chen's hand, and the breath of destruction swept across the 9 heavens and 10 places. Boom! Long Chen pushed with his big hand, and the huge ball of light roared towards the endless BlackRock 9 Serenity Python clan powerhouses in front of him. Puff puff. Long Chen's move was too fast. Such a large-scale move was completed in an instant, and the powerhouses of the BlackRock 9 Serenity Python clan had no time to react, and were hit by the thunder ball, turning into powder in an instant. Boom! The ball of thunder rolled down like a meteorite, and wherever it passed, all flesh and blood were turned into dust, making it irresistible. Boom! With a bang, the huge ball of thunder exploded, and a huge figure holding a golden sky fork appeared. The owner holding the fork shattered the ball of thunder and roared, "Damn human race, who gave you the courage to dare to challenge the great?" Snapped, before he finished yelling, a big hand full of stars slapped his face fiercely. Chapter 5583. It was a powerful 5-meridian celestial saint with amazing breath and terrifying strength, otherwise he would not be able to crush Long Chen's thunderball. This person is powerful, and powerful people are often very conceited. He smashed the thunder light ball with a golden fork, wanting to see who dares to challenge the BlackRock 9 Serenity Python clan. However, before the thunder light dissipated, a big hand slapped his face fiercely. From the moment the hand appeared until it was slapped, he didn't feel any danger. Snapped, the big hand covered with stars hit his face, and his whole body was thrown into the air. A group of strong men behind him were smashed into blood by him, and were directly shattered. With one blow, Long Chen stepped into the void, and like a flash of lightning he flew towards the 5-veined heavenly sage of the BlackRock 9 Serenity Python family, and at the same time a thunder spear emerged in his hand. Buzz! The thunder spear appeared, the violent thunder flowed, and the endless thunder runes gathered. When the thunder spear appeared, the whole world trembled, and the destructive air changed the color of the universe. Crazy Thunder Soul Gun. Long Chen stopped drinking, and the long spear surged, piercing the void. It's a very common move, but now Lei Linger's violent lightning power has reached an extremely terrifying level. Ordinary moves can also explode with devastating power. Long Chen first used a slap that did not contain any killing intent to repel the 5-veined heavenly sage of the BlackRock 9 Serenity Python clan. This blow was the real killing move. 9 Netherblood Slash. The 5-veined heavenly sage of the Haiyan 9 Serenity Python family was slapped by Long Chen, and he was so angry that he saw Long Chen's attack. He didn't want to resist, but attacked with an attack. Obviously, he was mad with anger. Boom! The thunder spear collided with the golden support sky fork, and the loud noise was shocking. Long Chen groaned and stepped back a few steps, while the 5-veined heavenly saint of the BlackRock 9 Serenity Python clan spewed out a mouthful of blood. Long Chen was startled. He was also a 5-veined celestial sage. This 5-veined celestial sage of the BlackRock 9 Serenity Python clan was much stronger than the one he and Mo Nian had met before. Obviously, Long Chen had an absolute advantage, and this full-strength blow still couldn't seriously injure him. It seems that the BlackRock 9 Serenity Python clan should not be underestimated. Thunder wings fluttered behind Long Chen, and a flicker appeared beside that person, at an extremely fast speed. The man was terrified, and struck out with the golden fork in his hand, wanting to give himself a chance to breathe. However, what shocked him was that Long Chen's figure disappeared the moment his golden sky fork hit, and he realized only then that it was just an afterimage of Long Chen. Not good. The 5-meridian heavenly sage of the BlackRock 9 Serenity Python clan was terrified, and was about to make a move. Puff! The thunder spear had pierced through his back, protruding from his chest, and his sturdy scales couldn't defend against the thunder spear at all. Die! Long Chen snorted coldly, and above the thunder spear, thunder light bloomed, and with a bang, the 5-veined heavenly sage of the BlackRock 9 Serenity Python clan was killed by Long Chen. Damn human race, today you have to pay with blood. Long Chen had just killed the strong man, and there were several roars. Immediately afterwards, more than a dozen terrifying auras came, and at the same time, more than a dozen 5-veined heavenly saints rushed from the direction of the Lake of Stars. Damn! Will I be afraid of you? Long Chen was furious. He was about to enter the Lake of Stars, but this group of stunned youths tried their best to stop him. Boom! Long Chen also became ruthless. Facing more than a dozen five-veined heavenly saints, he rushed away with a thunder spear in his hand. Boom boom boom. More than a dozen five-meridian heavenly saint-level powerhouses, Long Chen's thunder spears filled the sky with thunder, abruptly broke through their blockade, and killed one person. However, Long Chen was also in trouble, with a big cut in his back, and the invincible Starry Sky battle suit could no longer provide him with effective protection in the face of the terrifying power of Wumai Tianxing. Just as Long Chen was about to approach the Lake of Stars, suddenly there was a huge wave in the lake, and a snake tail covered with scales, like a whip of a god, slammed towards Long Chen. In the terrifying power of qi and blood, the dragon energy of the 6 heavenly veins can be faintly entangled. Before a single blow, the terrifying coercion has already made Long Chen feel suffocated. 6 meridians heavenly sage? Long Chen was startled and angry. This Black Rock 9 Serenity Python clan actually had a 6-veined celestial saint-level monster. The most frightening thing is that the power of the 6 dragon qi has been completely integrated with the qi and blood, which means that this person has not just advanced to the 6 meridians at all. Thousand Thunder Shield. Faced with such a terrifying blow, Long Chen formed seals with his hands, and the power of thunder condensed, and a Thunder Shield emerged, and the moment the Thunder Shield emerged, it was instantly layered, forming thousands of thin thunder shields. Boom boom boom. No one expected that the paper-thin thunder shields would burst into pieces one after another, but with each shield being shattered, the power of the snake tail was being consumed rapidly. In the end, when there were 23 shields left, the power of this blow was exhausted, and the snake tail could no longer break through a step. Boom! Suddenly the Lake of Stars was turbulent, and a huge head broke out of the water. It was the head of a giant python, like a mountain. A pair of cold pupils stared at Long Chen, and suddenly it opened its mouth. A bloody divine light shot out at Long Chen, and as soon as the divine light appeared, Long Chen immediately felt something was wrong. The thunder wings fluttered, and his figure disappeared instantly. The ground behind Long Chen was pierced by the blood-colored divine light, and there was a loud noise. Above the ground, a large hole with a diameter of thousands of miles appeared. The ground did not deform, but everything in the hole disappeared silently. Seeing this scene, Long Chen couldn't help feeling his scalp tingle. Long Chen had seen this blow before. Among Xiao Yun's supernatural powers, there was this blow. This is a kind of annihilating power. It's about to die. Damn human race, don't you just dodge? At this moment, a cold woman's voice came, and then the giant python disappeared, and a woman in a black robe appeared in front of Long Chen. Her pupils are vertical pupils. They look so strange and terrifying. When stared at by them, it's like being under the fangs of a poisonous snake, making one's hairs stand on end. The woman put away her body, turned into a human form, and stood in front of Long Chen, blocking Long Chen's way. The woman's body has 6 dragon energy flowing around her body, but there is also a transparent fluctuation, which is also running along with it. Obviously, she has already begun to prepare to condense the 7th dragon energy. It's okay to be ugly, and your mouth is so smelly, you Haiyan 9 Serenity Python family, you really don't like it. Long Chen sneered. Obviously, things can't be better today. The power of thunder circulated around Long Chen's body, forming thunder chains. What no one knew was that some thunder chains fell silently and invaded the earth. From under the earth, they slowly penetrated into the sea of stars. Report your name. I Yentong will not kill the unknown. The woman stretched out her hand, and a broad sword as black as ink appeared in her hand. While speaking, tens of millions of strong people surrounded this side. Besides the Haiyan Juyo Python family, there are many other races. However, before Long Chen could reply, a vicious voice came. Damn Long Chen, you who killed 1,000 swords, where are you going to escape today? Chapter 5584. In that voice, there was a strong killing intent, and every word burst out from between the teeth. Long Chen searched for his reputation, and then found a familiar face. That person was none other than Qin Feng from the Heavenly Demon and Divine Phoenix clan. The last time he was knocked down by Long Chen and robbed the Golden Excalibur, he was cited as a lifelong shame and vowed to kill Long Chen for revenge. Seeing Long Chen again now, his eyeballs were almost burning with flames. Behind him, two women from the Heavenly Demon and Divine Phoenix clan also had evil eyes, as if they wanted to eat Long Chen alive. At this time, Qin Feng was already a 6-meridian heavenly sage, and those two women had also advanced to a 5-meridian heavenly sage. Their promotion speed was really astonishing. In addition to the three of them, there are countless strong men who have surrounded them. These strong men come from different races. There are 7 of them in the 6-veined heavenly sage, and hundreds of 5-veined heavenly saints. At this time, Long Chen has fallen into surrounded by death. Long Chen? He is the one senior brother Ho Yang said, the Long Chen who asked us to be careful? When he heard Qin Feng's words, Yen Tong of the Haiyan 9 Serenity Python clan's eyes flickered with disbelief. That's right, it's him. This person is extremely insidious, scheming, and good at sneak attacks and escapes. However, today he has no chance again. Attention everyone, no matter what action he makes, take the first shot and kill him with all your strength, and you must not let him escape. Qin Feng had experienced the power of the Shattering Seal and warned everyone. Buzz. Following Qin Feng's warning, everyone took out their weapons. The terrifying power of destiny locked Long Chen at the same time. As long as Long Chen made suspicious actions, they would explode with all their strength, and they would never give Long Chen the chance to use magic weapons. However, in the face of so many people's locks, Long Chen didn't show any abnormality. The power of thunder circulated around his body, the stars trembled, and he just looked at everyone so coldly. I heard that you are a descendant of 9 stars, but is it true? Yen Tong looked at Long Chen coldly. What do you think? Long Chen didn't answer directly, but said lightly. At this time, he was quietly passing through the thunder chain and slowly probing the power of the stars from under the earth to the star lake. Everyone was confused by his thunder power and didn't notice Long Chen's little action at all. Heir of the 9 stars? When Yen Tong said the name, countless people in the field exclaimed. Is he really the descendant of 9 stars? Known as the strongest fighter in the 9 heavens and 10 places. Just kidding, if he is really a descendant of the 9 stars, how long has it been since he didn't even condense a piece of Tianmai dragon energy? Isn't it a counterfeit? All of a sudden, countless people talked about it. Although they were basically monsters sealed in ancient times, they had all heard of the descendants of the 9 stars, but they had never seen them. Hearing this word now, looking at Long Chen again, it seems that Long Chen's image is far worse than the legendary invincible existence. Although the power of Long Chen's thunder is astonishing, but because he does not have the blessing of Tianmai dragon energy, he cannot use the power of heaven, so the threat to them is very small. This person is very strong. He can break through the blockade of a dozen of us without even condensing a single Tianmai dragon chi. If the Tianmai dragon chi is condensed, it will be even more serious. Perhaps he is really a descendant of the 9 stars, said a strong man from the Haiyan 9 Serenity Python clan. Pull it down, your Haiyan 9 Serenity Python is not very strong, but you are quite good at putting gold on your face. If you lose, you lose. Why do you want to raise the value of others? Will this make you less embarrassing? At this time, a strange voice came. You. The strong man of the Haiyan 9 Serenity Python clan was furious. What are you? You Black Rock 9 Serenity Pythons are originally a group of inferior races. If it wasn't for a Yen Tong who became the handmaid of senior brother Ho Yang, you Haiyan 9 Serenity's Python clan, are you qualified to speak here? The yin and yang voice sounded again, and the person who spoke was an ugly woman with a big forehead and a pointed chin, a face as big as a plate, with fine hair growing on it, and eyes like copper bells. When she was speaking, she could still see her 2 rows. Irregular and somewhat yellowed teeth. This woman does not know what race she is, but her body is surrounded by 6 veins of dragon energy. She is also a heavenly saint with 6 veins. Her energy and blood power is actually comparable to that of Yen Tong. And in her tone, there was a strong sense of jealousy, and the disdainful tone was just to cover up the jealousy in her heart. Currently used, the app with the most complete and best listening sounds, integrated with 4 speech synthesis engines, over 100 kinds of timbres, and an artifact that supports offline reading, Huanyuan app. Org Source app. Long Chen looked at Yen Tong, and then at the woman, with a strange look on his face. Who is he? You can hear the clues in a few words. Apparently, the Black Rock 9 Serpent Python clan is the bottom of the Sky Demon Alliance and is not welcome. In this generation, the genius Yen Tong came out, and Yen Tong was valued by that Ho Yang and became a maid. However, maid is probably an insulting word, and it may not be really a maid. It is a kind of existence of followers. The Black Rock 9 Serenity Python clan became prosperous because of Yen Tong, broke away from the shackles of the bottom layer, and entered the upper layer. This extremely ugly woman should have looked down on the Haiyan Juyo Python family from the bottom of her heart. Now she found an opportunity to humiliate Yen Tong together by mocking that person. Hearing the woman's words, Yen Tong's face changed suddenly, and she said with a gloomy expression, "Scarlet Moon, are you deliberately declaring war with me? Declaring war is declaring war. What's wrong? You bastard, I've disliked you for a long time. What qualifications do you have to be favored by senior brother Ho Yang?" The woman named Xingyue took a step forward, waved her hands, her body swelled up, like a gorilla, holding 2 table-sized axes, pointing at Yen Tong and roaring. Scarlet Moon was furious, and the people around were startled. They wanted to persuade the fight, but they knew that the 2 clans had enmity for a long time, and Scarlet Moon was so blatantly provocative. Haiyan Juyo Python hates being scolded by others, Yen Tong said coldly. A fat pig with black hair, no smell, stupid and arrogant, and named Scarlet Moon. How do you look like a holy moon? Being provoked and abused by Scarlet Moon, Yen Tong is not easy to provoke. She retaliates directly when the other party attacks personally. Every word is mercilessly exposing Scarlet Moon's scars. No matter what race, as long as they are women, there is no one who does not love beauty, especially most races, who have to step into the realm of the emperor, will be affected by the aesthetic concept of the human race. Yen Tong is average-looking, not a beauty at all, but compared with Chi Yu, well, she looks very good-looking immediately. And Scarlet Yu was so sarcasm by Yen Tong, she immediately yelled angrily, but at this moment, Long Chen spoke. "You're wrong. Who said she doesn't look like the moon at all?" However, when Long Chen opened his mouth, everyone was stunned, and then Long Chen continued, "Are you all blind? Can't you see that big face?" Haha. As soon as Long Chen said this, countless people couldn't help laughing out loud, especially the powerhouses of the Black Rock 9 Serenity Python clan. Dai, Scarlet Moon was furious, seeing that Long Chen dared to provoke her, roared angrily, pierced the sky with the battle axe in her hand, and slashed towards Long Chen. Chapter 5585 Scarlet Moon struck bravely and fiercely, like a female Vajra. She rushed towards Long Chen. Her giant axe pierced through the air, tearing apart the universe. "If you can catch me with 3 axes and survive, I will admit that you are the descendant of 9 stars. Scarlet Moon roared angrily. "Whether I, Long Chen, is a descendant of the 9 stars, you don't seem to need to admit it. I never thought that I, Long Chen Hu Luo Pingyang, was bullied by dogs, and I was embarrassed by you little trash. Forget it, who hasn't had bad luck yet? Just wait, when I, Long Chen, condenses the dragon energy of Tianmai, then I will show you what a real strong man is." Long Chen said lightly. "He wants to run, let's shoot together." Chen Feng immediately saw that something was wrong, and was the first to make a move. A beam of divine light shot out at Long Chen. At the same time, Yen Tong and the other strong men attacked at almost the same time. Obviously, they had been attacking prevent Long Chen from escaping. "I, Long Chen, want to leave. Who can stop you?" As soon as Long Chen's hand imprinting method changed, the ground under his feet suddenly exploded, and then the water flowers wrapped in the stars bloomed rapidly. Boom, boom, boom. All the attacks collided with the spray, and everyone's face changed at that moment. Their attacks landed on the spray, and the spray burst, and Long Chen's figure fell rapidly. Boom! The explosion shook the sky, and Long Chen fell into the deep pit under his feet while the water was resisting. The deep pit was already filled with lake water. Blast him to death under the ground. Someone roared. Boom, boom, boom. All kinds of attacks slammed on the ground, dust flew up, water splashed, and the ground was cut into a deep pit tens of thousands of miles away, but Long Chen had disappeared. There is no spatial fluctuation, he can't escape, search quickly. Seeing Long Chen disappear, the group of people were anxious and searched quickly, but they couldn't find the slightest trace of Long Chen. What they didn't know was that with the power of thunder, Long Chen sent the power of the stars along the ground into the distant lake. When the power of the stars penetrated into the lake, Long Chen immediately felt the power of the vast and boundless stars. As long as he was given enough time, he could control the lake. However, he didn't have that much time, so he could only use the power of the stars to induce the lake water to form a big pit under his feet and build an underground passage. When Scarlet Moon attacked him, Long Chen mobilized the power of the lake water to form a splash, not to resist their attack, but to buy himself a buffer time to enter the passage smoothly. The lake itself contained the power of stars, and under the guidance of Long Chen's power of stars, an astonishing force erupted, and Long Chen successfully entered the underground passage. The moment he entered the channel, Long Chen felt like a fish in water, like a flash of lightning in the water, rushing to the depths of the lake. When this group of people was still madly attacking the earth, Long Chen had already fled away. Puff! In the lake water, Long Chen spat out a mouthful of blood. Although he won the opportunity, the aftermath of so many strong men attacking at the same time still shattered his bones, and his internal organs were also ruptured. It can be said that, this time, it was dangerous to escape. A bunch of little trash, you wait for me. Long Chen was annoyed. If he was also a heavenly sage of 6 meridians, how could they have the right to be arrogant? At the same time, Long Chen was also full of vigilance. He found that the heavenly sacred realm might be a watershed in this era. Before, the first-grade god emperor that Long Chen encountered in the outside world was already so powerful that it was suffocating, but now that he thinks about it, the powerhouses like Chenfeng, Yentong, and Scarlet Moon, who are in the realm of a heavenly sage, are enough. It is comparable to the first-rank god emperor from the outside world. As for terrifying existences like Fan Tianda and Li Changging, their Tianmai dragon chi fluctuations are more solid and powerful than those of Chenfeng, Yentong, Scarlet Moon and others. It is also a dragon energy of Tianmai, but the energy contained in it is very different. After such a long period of observation, he found that this Tianmai contains not only the power of luck, the power of destiny, but also the power of law. Powers such as the power of Tao and the attributes of the 5 elements seem to contain some things that cannot be explained clearly. In this realm, some people's Tianmai dragon chi is a straw, while some people's Tianmai dragon chi is a steel wire. The most frightening thing is that some people's dragon energy of 1 sky vein is formed by the condensation of thousands of steel wires, and it is strong and tough. It is also a heavenly sage with 5 veins, but the gap can be astonishingly large. In the past, it was as easy as chopping melons and vegetables for Long Chen's leapfrogging challenge, but now, let alone leapfrogging, he can't beat Lu Mai Tianxing. If it was the new generation of human sovereign, Long Chen would not have the courage to challenge at all. Obviously, the level standard of the old generation of powerhouses was no longer suitable for their generation. Long Chen rushed forward in the lake, and suddenly a deadly threat hit him. Long Chen's hairs exploded, and his hair stood on end. At that moment, he seemed to be stared at by a bunch of prehistoric beasts. The threat of death filled Long Chen's heart in an instant, and Long Chen was startled. There was a terrifying existence hidden in the center of the lake. At the same time, Long Chen felt a powerful summoning again, and Long Chen felt awe-inspiring. There is something weird in the center of this lake. The power of the stars of Long Chen gradually merged with the lake water, and Long Chen discovered that the lake water not only contained the power of the stars, but also contained an evil force. The two forces are entangled with each other and restrict each other. When they are entangled, they produce a powerful force of suction, frantically absorbing the energy of the world. This lake of stars is like a huge spirit-gathering array, which gathers the endless energy between heaven and earth here, which is why so many strong people give up hunting for treasures and choose to practice around this lake of stars. However, the farther you are from the shore, the stronger the evil power will be, making your soul tremble. No wonder everyone stays by the lake instead of going to the center of the lake, because the shore is the best place to practice. At this time, Long Chen didn't want to practice anymore. The strong intention of summoning and the terrifying will to kill made him full of curiosity about the central area of the lake. Long Chen didn't care about healing. The power of the stars unfolded, and he sped forward. The lake was too big, and Long Chen galloped for an hour. He couldn't see the shore, but he still didn't reach the central area. But at this moment, fierce killing intent and warning intent struck. Apparently a terrifying creature had discovered him and was warning him. However, this kind of crushing of will not only failed to make Long Chen succumb, but made Long Chen even more curious and insisted on finding out. However, the more he moved forward, the fierce killing intent had already condensed into substance. The void began to change color, and a pitch-black area appeared in the star-like lake. Facing the fierce killing intent, Long Chen plunged into it without any hesitation, the moment he entered the black area. The water waves trembled, and Long Chen actually entered a different dimension, and then Long Chen saw a scene that shocked him. Chapter 5586. In the alien space with a radius of thousands of miles, a woman exuding starlight and holding a star sword pierced through the head of a demon. And the demon had wings on its back, horns on its head, and 6 arms like spider legs, piercing into the woman's body fiercely, and the black venom was corroding her body. When Long Chen entered the alien space, the woman who was staring at the devil was looking at Long Chen, with a smile on the corner of her mouth. Seeing this scene, Long Chen immediately recognized that the woman was a descendant of the 9 stars. Without even thinking about it, he held a thunder spear and stabbed at the demon. Boom! However, before Long Chen approached, the demon's wings trembled, and the thunder spear in Long Chen's hand shattered. The berserk force of destruction struck, and Long Chen spurted out a mouthful of blood. Long Chen was horrified. The 9-star descendant had restrained it, but Long Chen still couldn't break through its basic defense. What level is this monster? Unexpectedly, hundreds of millions of years later, the 9-star lineage has fallen to this point. It seems that since the death of the Star Master, the 9-star lineage has exhausted its energy. The monster looked at Long Chen, and a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. His voice is cold and deep, every word has a bloody taste, every syllable is like a life-threatening note, full of ferocity and bloodthirsty. Even with Long Chen's bravery, listening to its voice, can't help but I felt my soul trembling. It was an extremely frightening sound. However, upon hearing the monster's taunt, Long Chen suddenly became angry. If he couldn't even deal with a trapped monster, it would be too useless. However, just when Long Chen was hesitating about how to kill him, a spiritual thought from the 9-star successor came. Don't be in a hurry to start. It's a 9th-grade God Emperor. With your current strength, you can't break through the protective light formed by his God Emperor's crown. 9th-grade God Emperor? Long Chen's heart beat wildly. This monster turned out to be a 9th-grade God Emperor? Moreover, he is still the 9th-grade God Emperor in the era of chaos. No wonder he is so terrifying. At the beginning, Feng Xinyue once said that the God Emperor powerhouse of that era could condense the God Crown, which was the symbol of the God Emperor powerhouse. However, after the Great Chaos War, the heaven and the earth changed, and people could not put the crown of God outside, they could only put it in their bodies. But Long Chen didn't see the monster's God's crown coming out. That's because the power of God's crown has become extremely weak during the countless years of confrontation between it and the 9-star female heir, from tangible to intangible. Reduce consumption. However, even the power of this invisible crown can make Long Chen vomit blood, which makes Long Chen even more horrified. He is the hexagonal evil fly of the extraterrestrial celestial demon clan, A general-level existence among the extraterritorial celestial demons, and they are the ones who slaughtered countless creatures. I fought against it, got involved in the turbulence of time and space, flowed in the cracks of time and space, and finally fell here. Its strength is above mine, and I don't have the ability to kill it, so I can only hold it back so that it won't cause harm to the world. I used my natal Shanghai to transform into a lake and mobilized the power of the stars in the sky to hold it back, but every once in a while, someone would come to absorb the power of the lake, which greatly damaged my strength. But this time, the absorbed power is more and faster. I can hardly hold on anymore, but you are here. Although you haven't grown up yet and are still weak, I believe that every 9-star successor is a real strong man. You must have a way, but don't worry, calm down," said the 9-star female warrior. Her voice is very soft, like a gentle sister encouraging her younger brother. She is very kind. Long Chen was originally angry, but when he heard her voice, he immediately calmed down. He knew that every time she said in her mouth, someone would absorb the power of the lake. It should be the opening of the Tianmai profound realm. Practice hard. Her natal star C, if she wants to attract the power of the stars, it will attract it together with the power of the heavens, so the amazing power of the heavens in the lake of stars attracts so many people. But this time, because there were too many people who came and they were too strong, they were consumed very quickly, which caused her strength to weaken rapidly, showing signs of being unable to control the opponent. Don't you think that this guy who is as weak as an ant will help you? The 6-horned evil fly looked at Long Chen, and its voice was full of sarcasm. Although it couldn't hear the conversation between the two, it was extremely intelligent and could roughly guess what the two would communicate. Long Chen looked at the 6-horned evil fly, and only then did he notice that there were 2 big black bumps on this guy's forehead, which looked like the eyes of a fly. No wonder they had such a name. The so-called hexagons refer to their 6 arms that are like spider legs, and the front ends of the arms are like sharp horns. Long Chen looked at the hexagonal evil fly up and down, paying attention to every detail. Long Chen's sharp eyes made the hexagonal evil fly feel uncomfortable. However, at this time, it and the 9-star female warrior mutually restrained each other's vital points, and their strength was restrained by the other party, so neither dared to act rashly. Long Chen's head was spinning rapidly. He was looking for the weakness of this monster, thinking about how to kill it with one blow, but most importantly, how to kill this monster while keeping the life of the 9-star female warrior. "You don't have to worry about me, as long as you can kill it, everything is worth it," the 9-star female warrior said to Long Chen via voice transmission. "What's it worth? My sister, a fairy-like figure, can die with such an ugly monster. Believe me, I will finally figure out a way," Long Chen said. When Long Chen said this, the 9-star female warrior was taken aback for a moment, and then a smile appeared on her face. "Since I was born, I have fought in all directions, and no one has ever praised me. Thank you, even if I die, I can rest in peace." Long Chen was stunned. Legend has it that the descendant of 9 stars is withdrawn and a natural battle madman. Listening to her tone, she started to fight in all directions when she was very young. So who is in charge of her? However, it is definitely inconvenient to ask this question at this time. If you want to know more about the secrets of the descendants of the 9 stars, you can only talk about it after you save her. Buzz. At this moment, the barrier they were in trembled, and the entire lake of stars began to surge wildly. "It's not good, they have absorbed too much power, my enchantment is showing signs of being out of balance, I can't hold it anymore, little brother, it's too late, find a way to kill it, and leave me alone." 9-star female warrior anxious the ground said to Long Chen. Long Chen also saw it, and he was very anxious, but if he killed this monster, she would die with him, and Long Chen couldn't do it. Boom boom boom. At this moment, there was a loud noise in the chaotic space, and Long Chen couldn't help being overjoyed. At this moment, the Qingkuan Cauldron, Dragon Bone Shiyue, Yaoyue Cauldron, and Fantian Seal left the customs at the same time. "Wow wow wow, this is a monster from the era of chaos, big man, let me hack it to death." Keel Shiyue had just recovered, staring at the hexagonal evil fly like a hungry wolf, shouting excitedly. "It's alive and trapped. Why don't you use the heavenly soul blood curse to refine it into a puppet? Qin Kuan Ding said. Snapped, hearing the words of the Qin Kuan Ding, Long Qin excitedly slapped his thigh, and the whole person jumped up. He was really stupid. Why didn't he think of this move? Qin Kuan Ding specifically mentioned the living ones, because the living ones are easier to use the heavenly soul blood curse, and the probability of success is higher. Hey! At this moment, Long Qin walked towards the six-horned evil fly step by step, with an evil smile on the corner of his mouth. Be patient, it will be fine soon. Chapter 5587 Chenkuan Cauldron, Dragon Bone Evil Moon, Yaoyue Cauldron and Fan Tian Yin were all awakened, and Long Chen walked towards the six-horned evil fly with a grin on his face full of confidence. Stupid guy, do you know that in front of me, you are just an ant? How big a wave can you make? Facing Long Chen's grim smile, the six-horned evil fly sneered. It didn't take Long Chen seriously at all. Inside, because Long Chen's cultivation base is too low, and the power of the stars is even weaker, it has touched the bottom of Long Chen in the collision just now, and it doesn't believe that Long Chen can do anything to it. However, it was also extremely cautious, focusing all its attention on the female warrior. It was not afraid of Long Chen, but it was afraid of her. Even if it is in an absolute advantage at this time, it can come back immediately, but the more it is at this moment, the more cautious it is. In its opinion, Long Chen can only interfere with it at most. As long as it is stable, it will win. Stupid big fly, do you think I'm playing tricks with you? You're wrong. Use your strongest strength to meet the trial of your third master Long. Long Chen shouted. Madness, the six-horned evil fly sneered. The more Long Chen said this, the more he exposed Long Chen's thoughts. It believed that Long Chen was playing tricks and wanted to win the woman a chance. Child with a big head, you, third master Long, are here. Long Chen suddenly let out a strange cry, stepped on the void, and rushed towards the hexagonal evil fly like a bolt of lightning. Die! Seeing Long Chen directly bumping into it without hesitation, the six-horned evil fly snorted coldly, its wings trembled slightly, and a transparent ripple emerged. This ripple is more terrifying than before. If it is hit by it, Long Chen may be killed instantly. However, at the moment when Long Chen was about to be hit by the ripple, Long Chen's figure disappeared instantly. What? The six-horned evil fly and the woman were startled at the same time. Neither of them saw clearly how Long Chen disappeared. I hit. When the ripples swept through the void, Long Chen's figure had appeared behind the hexagonal evil fly. On a brick, countless runes lit up and smashed hard on its head. Boom! There was a shocking explosion, and the violent force caused the entire lake to rise rapidly, shooting out a column of water thousands of miles thick, straight into the sky. Ilgo, this blow is enjoyable. Long Chen yelled excitedly. After the overturning seal was awakened, it was blessed with the power of runes. The power of this blow could split mountains and smash mountains. Long Chen was even worried that it would blow this guy's head off at once. However, it was clear that Long Chen's worries were superfluous. The sky-shattering seal hit the head of the six-horned evil fly, and it trembled violently, while the long sword inserted in its head shook for a while. Sword draw, Long Chen shouted. The woman was shocked. If she drew out the long sword, she would no longer be able to suppress it, just when she was hesitating. A black evil long knife emerged. What an ink blot! Kiel Xia appeared automatically and stabbed at the long sword. When the tip of Kiel Xia hit the sword tip precisely, and the long sword was thrown out immediately, but the tip of Kiel Xia pierced into the head of the hexagonal evil fly. Back, the exchange was completed in an instant. The woman was shocked. She did not expect that Long Chen would have such a means. When the Kiel evil moon pierced its head, the hexagonal evil fly roared loudly, its wings spread out suddenly, and the terrifying devilish energy rose rapidly. Ah, your sister, in front of Third Master Long. If it's a dragon, you have to curl up, and if it's a tiger, you lie down. Long Chen opened his hand, a blood-colored rune emerged, and the sky-shattering seal trembled, breaking away from the head of the six-horned evil fly, and a blood-colored pit was photographed where it was originally. Snapped, Long Chen's big hand precisely hit that position, and the bloody rune melted into its flesh and blood for an instant. At that moment, the body of the six-horned evil fly stiffened suddenly. "Damn reptile, you still want to enslave me, die?" The six-horned evil fly fell into a frenzy for a moment, and the endless runes around her body lit up. Seeing this scene, the woman gritted her teeth and was about to rush forward. "No, leave it to me." Long Chen hurriedly sent a sound transmission to her, and then sneered at the six-horned evil fly. "You can't escape the things that Third Master Long likes, so be my puppet obediently." Puff! Suddenly, the Keel Evil Moon retreated from the head of the six-horned evil fly. The Keel Evil Moon, the Fantion Seal, and the Demon Moon Cauldron, they are in the shape of pin, surrounding Long Chen and the hexagonal evil fly. Boom! Without the restraint of Keel Evil Moon, the hexagonal evil fly seemed to be unsealed in an instant, and its berserk power rose rapidly, and the lake water seemed to be boiling, crazily surging in all directions. The violent water wave rushed from the center of the lake to the edge of the lake in the blink of an eye. Countless people exclaimed, trying to escape, but it was too late, and they were swallowed by the lake in an instant. Puff, puff, and the moment they were swallowed by the lake water, their bodies were instantly crushed, and the lake water was dyed bright red with blood. Originally, there were countless strong people staying around the Lake of Stars, but now that the tide has passed, only the strong people above the Wumai Tianxing level are eligible to save their lives, and the rest of them are all killed. How is this going? Some survivors yelled in horror. Originally, there were more than 20 million strong people in their power, but after the tide passed, less than 100 people survived. The Lake of Stars turned into a lake of blood in an instant. However, in the blood-colored lake, the blood quickly coagulated and unexpectedly converged into streams, rushing towards the center of the lake. And the lake, which was as red as blood just now, instantly became clear again, returning to its original appearance, as if everything was an illusion. And in the center of the lake, endless blood was drawn and frantically poured into the body of the hexagonal evil fly. The endless runes on its body lit up, and its aura was soaring crazily, like a chaotic demon about to be resurrected with full blood. However, seeing the hexagonal evil fly getting stronger and stronger, Long Chen was not in a hurry. The stronger the demon, the happier Long Chen was. Boom! Long Chen pressed the head of the six-horned evil fly with his big hand, and the power of the soul was injected into his soul crazily. Although the six-horned evil fly is a 9th-rank emperor, the soul has been consumed for hundreds of millions of years and has already been dilapidated. It can be said that the soul is its biggest weakness, which is why Long Chen has the confidence to accept it as a puppet. Ka ka ka. The six-horned evil fly trembled all over, its wings trembled slightly, and its 6 horn-like arms were shaking slowly, as if it could break through Long Chen's seal at any time. The endless blood around it was still pouring into its body continuously, and when the last ray of blood was sucked into its body, the endless runes around it lit up like the sun. It's now. Seeing that the time was ripe, Long Chen yelled, the Keel Evil Moon, the Demon Moon Cauldron, and the overturning seal glowed at the same time, and the endless flow of runes formed thousands of chains, wrapping the hexagonal evil fly heavily. It's still close. Long Chen shouted. Suddenly, the Qingquan cauldron appeared above Long Chen's head, and the Dao Dao Shenhui fell back. The hexagonal evil fly, which was still struggling frantically, stood still for a moment. Chapter 5588. The divine brilliance of the Qingquan cauldron did not directly shine on the 6-cornered evil fly, but on the Fantion seal, Dragon Bone Evil Moon, and Yaoyue cauldron. You three are really ugly. Even though the Qingquan Ding lived for endless years, he couldn't help cursing the shamelessness of the 3 guys. The 3 of them locked the hexagonal evil fly, but they didn't work hard, just waiting for it to attack. Don't make trouble, only your sacred power can restrain its evil power, otherwise, our efforts will be in vain. Longu Shiyue quibbled. Qingquan cauldron didn't bother to talk nonsense with it. Its sacred power was indeed the strongest force to restrain it. However, if Dragon Bone Shiyue, Yaoyue Ding and Fantian Yin shot with all their strength, they could also imprison him instantly, but these three guys were all waiting for it. Yaoyue Ding and Fantian Seal are very simple. Don't think about it, it must be the idea of Dragon Bone Shiyue. As soon as Qiankuan Cauldron made a move, the hexagonal evil fly could not move for an instant, and Long Chen's soul power erupted at full force, and the decayed soul of the hexagonal evil fly was instantly killed, and at the same time, the soul imprint was deeply imprinted. This heavenly soul blood curse can only control dead puppets, so it needs to kill its soul. However, when the soul is killed, directly imprinting the soul imprint is the easiest way to succeed. After Long Chen's soul imprint was imprinted, the body of the hexagonal evil fly remained silent for a long time. At that moment, Long Chen was extremely nervous, waiting for the judgment of fate. After half a stick of incense, the body of the six-horned evil fly trembled slightly, and a rune lit up from between its eyebrows. Success! Seeing this scene, Long Chen couldn't help being overjoyed. When the rune lit up, he had a soul connection with the puppet, and the hexagonal evil fly would be completely under his command. It was controlled. When the 9-star female warrior saw this scene, her eyes were full of disbelief. Long Chen, a person who didn't even condense the dragon energy of Tianmai, actually sealed the chaos demon of the 9th grade God Emperor level. Even she was stunned by this operation. Bang bang. Long Chen patted the hexagonal evil fly with his big hand. The strong head, the solid touch, and the violent power made Long Chen dance with excitement. The hexagonal evil fly absorbed a large amount of blood essence, strengthened its decayed body, and healed the pierced wounds. With it, Long Chen felt full of confidence. "Sister, how is your injury?" Long Chen suddenly saw the pale female warrior with shocked eyes, and felt embarrassed for a while, and hurriedly asked, "I am fine. You are so powerful." It's the first time I've seen that 9 stars have so many methods. The woman looked at Long Chen, and the shock in her eyes still didn't fade away. "By the way, my name is Tsing Yi. What's your name?" The woman said, "My name is Long Chen. You are older than me. They'll just call you Sister Qing. You can call me Long Chen." As the descendant of 9 stars, Long Chen can feel a strong sense of intimacy on her body. Tsing Yi nodded and said, "You are a very special descendant of 9 stars, different from us. It's great to meet you. By the way, Sister Qing, how is your injury? Can you recover?" Long Chen asked. Tsing Yi said, "I have been poisoned by the 6-horned evil fly for too long. Although I cannot die, it is extremely difficult to recover. If there is no poisoning, I can directly take back the power of the Lake of Stars. Although it cannot be cured, at least 30% of the power can be recovered. But because I was poisoned, and the lake water has been polluted by evil blood, I can't recycle them. Now it depends on whether you can use them to help you practice." "You mean?" Long Chen was startled. "This lake water is transformed by my original power. If you can absorb it, it will be of great benefit to you. If you can't absorb it, it will only be wasted." Tsing Yi said, "Maybe I can find a way to purify the lake water, and after purification, you can absorb it. Can you recover?" Long Chen said. Tsing Yi shook his head and said, "There is no time, look." It was only then that Long Chen noticed that at some point, the Lake of Stars began to rise, and the stars were slowly leaving the lake and floating towards the sky. "Our power comes from the stars in the sky, and now I can no longer control them. Where they come from, they will return to. So, if you can absorb them, do so quickly, otherwise, they will soon dissipate." Tsing Yi said, "In that case, I would like to thank Sister Qing for making it happen." Long Chen said, "The situation is urgent, and Long Chen is not too hypocritical. You can absorb it with peace of mind, and I will help you protect the law." Tsing Yi nodded and said, "No need, there are countless treasures in this Tianmai profound realm, and you can easily find a place suitable for your cultivation and recovery. The changes in the world are coming, and you need to recover quickly and become stronger." At this time, Qiankuan Cauldron set up. Seeing the Qiankuan Ding at this moment, Xing Yi's pupils suddenly shrank, because before, her attention was all focused on the hexagonal evil fly, and now she could clearly see the appearance of the Qiankuan Ding. You are. Xing Yi's voice trembled. She couldn't believe her eyes. Obviously she recognized the identity of Qiankuan Ding. Go, Long Chen has enough self-protection ability. Qiankuan Ding said. Xing Yi suppressed the shock in his heart, bowed respectfully to the Qiankuan cauldron, then nodded to Long Chen, signaling him to be careful. The figure flickered, the starlight trembled, and the figure disappeared instantly. Xing Yi disappeared. Qiankuan cauldron, dragon bone Shiyue, Fantian seal, Yaoyue cauldron and the hexagonal evil fly were all put away by Long Chen. Taking a deep breath, Long Chen formed a seal with his hands and directly summoned the vision of the Star Sea. The Star Sea enveloped the Star Lake, and the power between the two instantly matched and merged into one. Boom! At that moment, Long Chen instantly became the master of the Lake of Stars. At that moment, Long Chen instantly mastered a power thousands of times greater than his own. This kind of power is too terrifying. If one fails, it will explode his vision. Damn Long Chen, it turned out to be you. At this moment, the figures of Qin Feng, Yen Tong, Scarlet Moon and others appeared. When they saw Long Chen, their eyes turned red. It turned out that they were all cultivating on the shore, and the sudden waves directly killed their fellow clansmen. They were shocked, angry, and fearful, but their curiosity drove them to see what happened. So they bit the bullet and headed towards the center of the lake. They were terrified along the way, but when they saw Long Chen, they all roared and killed him. Although they didn't know exactly what happened, they always believed that Long Chen must have used some kind of bad move to kill so many of them. A group of ants dare to be arrogant in front of your third master Long? Let you see it today. Long Chen smiled darkly and was about to send out the hexagonal evil fly. Don't make trouble. How can you kill a chicken with a sledgehammer? Absorb the power of your stars with peace of mind. Linger, it's time to show your true strength. Qian Kunding said. The Yaoyue cauldron appeared, with runes flowing all over it, shining brightly. The whole body became transparent, suddenly enlarged rapidly, and went straight to Qin Feng and others. Chapter 5589 Boom! The weapons of Qin Feng and the others slashed on the Yaoyue cauldron, and with a loud bang, the people and their weapons were blown away by the shock. Long Chen was taken aback. When did the Yaoyue cauldron become so powerful? You know, the Yaoyue cauldron is in an illusory state at this time, yet it still has such terrifying power? The Yaoyue cauldron sent them flying, and it kept moving. The body of the cauldron was still expanding rapidly, covering the entire lake of stars in an instant. Brother Long Chen, you can absorb it with peace of mind. I will help you block all the enemies. Yao Linger said confidently. Boom boom boom. At this moment, Qin Feng, Yen Tong, Scarlet Moon and others who were blown away were startled and angry, and frantically attacked Yao Linger's body. However, Yao Linger's transparent body formed an enchantment, and every time they attacked, they could only burst out ripples, and they couldn't shake her at all. Not only the strong men of the Sky Demon clan, but also other strong men attacked the Yaoyue cauldron frantically, but the Yaoyue cauldron was still as stable as a rock. Currently used, the app with the most complete and best listening sounds, integrated with 4 speech synthesis engines, over 100 kinds of timbers, and an artifact that supports offline reading, Huanyuan app. Org Source app. Long Chen was surprised and delighted. Yao Linger was so powerful, not to mention Fan Tianyin, Dragon Bone Xieyu and Qiankuan Cauldron. But at this moment, it is still important to collect the power of the stars. Long Chen took a deep breath and controlled the lake of stars with a vision. In this lake, there is the power of the stars in Xing Yi, which cannot be wasted. One buzzing. When Long Chen attracted the power of these stars into his body, suddenly the world trembled, and Long Chen felt the vast power of destiny, which was frantically rushing towards him. Seeing this scene, Long Chen was overjoyed, and he wanted to draw the power of destiny into his body, and use the power of destiny to gather the dragon energy of Tianmai. Don't absorb those destiny chi, they will only become your burden. Now you can absorb the power of stars with peace of mind. Qian Ding said. Why? Long Chen was puzzled. At this time, absorbing the power of the stars, the power of destiny poured in, and condensing the dragon energy of Tianmai can be said to be twice the result with half the effort, but the Qian Ding actually made him give up condensing the dragon energy of Tianmai. Where are there so many why? Absorb it with peace of mind, and you will understand after a while. Qian Ding said angrily. Long Chen had no choice but to absorb the power of the stars in the lake of stars with peace of mind according to what Qian Ding said, and directly shield the power of destiny from the outside world. The lake water and Long Chen's vision of the sea of stars completely overlapped. They have already completed the fusion. What makes Long Chen feel strange is that this lake of stars contains endless power of stars, which is beyond his control at all. Even if he wants to control it, it is also extremely difficult. But after the fusion of the lake of stars and the vision, Long Chen found that the lake of stars looked so small in front of the vision of the star sea, and it didn't take any effort for the vision of the star sea to swallow it. And the power of the stars in the lake of stars is also extremely gentle. Everything obeys Long Chen, and their power slowly melts into the stars. Buzz. At this moment, the sea of stars in Long Chen's dantian underwent a huge change. Every star was surrounded by a layer of water vapor, like a colorful divine ring wrapping it. Long Chen was stunned. He didn't expect that such a change would occur after the fusion. The stars were surrounded by water vapor. At that moment, Long Chen suddenly discovered that the stars seemed to be endowed with a strange power. Long Chen didn't do anything, just waited quietly for their automatic fusion. Anyway, Yao Yueding was protecting him, so he was not in a hurry. Time passed little by little, and with the absorption of Long Chen, the area of the lake of stars kept shrinking, and the protection range of Yao Yueding also kept shrinking. But the attack from outside never stopped. Seeing the shrinking range of Yaoyue Cauldron, they thought that Yaoyue Cauldron's power was insufficient and showed signs of decline, so they attacked even more recklessly. Tens of thousands of strong men attacked the Yaoyue Cauldron frantically, but inside the Yaoyue Cauldron was peaceful. Long Chen closed his eyes and sat cross-legged in the sea of stars, quietly watching the changes of the stars in his dantian. As more and more powers of stars entered Long Chen's dantian through visions, misty water vapor appeared in the sea of stars in Long Chen's dantian, and each star, after being moistened by water vapor, seemed to be gestating something. A strange force. 1 hour, 2 hours. When the third hour passed, the endless lake had completely disappeared. The Yaoyue Cauldron finally shrank to a radius of 100 miles, guarding Long Chen firmly in it. No matter how the outside world attacked, she always protected Long Chen from being disturbed. At this moment, suddenly the sea of stars in Long Chen's dantian trembled suddenly, and a breath was exhaled from the moist stars at the same time. 1,080,000,000 stars spit out 1,080,000,000 breaths, and when he saw that breath, Long Chen's eyeballs were about to protrude. Each of the stars spit out a dragon's breath. Yes, that is the Tianmai dragon's breath, but at this time, they have not absorbed the power of destiny, so they cannot be called the Tianmai dragon's breath. 1,080,000,000 Tianmai dragon energy? Long Chen was stunned. Only then did he understand why the Qian Cauldron didn't let him ignore the power of destiny from the outside world and absorb the power of the stars with peace of mind. It turned out that it had known it would be like this. However, although there is a lot of dragon energy in this Tianmai, it is too weak, so weak that it can be blown away with a single breath. Suddenly, these Tianmai dragon energy disappeared from Long Chen's dantian and appeared in the vision of the outside world. When these Tianmai dragon energy appeared in the vision, those powerhouses who frantically attacked the Yaoyue Cauldron suddenly stood still, and they felt something was wrong, because at that moment, they suddenly lost their sense of the power of destiny. At the same time, the Tianmai dragon energy around them also disappeared. Boom! However, before they understood what was going on, the void collapsed, and the violent suction force made their scalps tingle for a while, and they rushed out without thinking. Boom! They had just escaped, and a vortex with a radius of hundreds of millions of miles formed between the heavens and the earth. At that moment, all the energy between the heavens and the earth rushed into Long Chen's sea of stars. The dragon energy of the heavenly veins surged against the wind and formed giant dragons in an instant. They crazily devoured the energy between the heaven and the earth, and scales grew out of their smooth bodies. Their breath became stronger and stronger, getting more and more violent. What is that? When they saw hundreds of millions of dragon shadows agitating in the sea of dragon dust and stars, everyone was stunned. Even with their knowledge, they had never seen such a terrifying phenomenon. The power of the heavenly veins between heaven and earth has been completely drained by him. I can no longer summon Tianmai Dragon Chi. What the hell is he doing? For a moment, countless people shouted in horror. Without the blessing of Tianmai Dragon Chi, they were extremely terrified. Buzz! The sea of stars above Long Chen's head had already shrunk, but because of the appearance of those giant dragons, it began to grow crazily, almost covering the entire sky. The terrifying sense of oppression made people despair. Shoot and kill him. Seeing that something was wrong, Chen Feng exchanged glances with Yen Tong and Scarlet Moon. At this time, the Yaoyue cauldron had disappeared at some point and rushed towards Long Chen with his feet on the void. Boom! On the contrary, before they could get close to Long Chen, there was a bang, and billions of dragon shadows disappeared from the sky, followed by a violent wave of air, and the three of them were directly shocked by the violent air wave, spurting blood and flying upside down. People were astonished. When the air wave passed and they looked at Long Chen again, they all looked dull and couldn't believe their eyes. One line. Heavenly Sage? Chapter 55-90 The endless figures of giant dragons finally merged into one, forming a sky vein dragon aura, which wandered back and forth behind Long Chen. However, unlike other people's Tianmai Dragon Chi, it is very weak, only 3 feet long, and looks like it is still underage. Compared with other giant dragons whose size ranges from hundreds of miles to thousands of miles, or even tens of thousands of miles, Long Chen's heavenly vein dragon Chi seems so small. But this Tianmai Dragon Chi is completely different from the Tianmai Dragon Chi that everyone has seen. It is surrounded by stars, flashing dreamlike colors. When it swims behind Long Chen, the world is silent and all sounds disappear. Long Chen clenched his fists, looked up to the sky and laughed loudly. I also have Tianmai Dragon Chi. 1 billion stars gave birth to 1 billion Dragon Chi, and the Dragon Chi converged into one, forming this Tianmai Dragon Chi, the breath of dragon dust, which has undergone earth-shaking changes at this moment. With the appearance of Tianmai Dragon Chi, the feeling that the world is under control, everything is born with one thought, and the universe is destroyed with one thought, cannot be described in words. It was only at this time that Long Chen realized that he had condensed the exclusive Tianmai Dragon Chi of the 9 stars. Perhaps it could be called the Star Dragon Chi. Its appearance made Long Chen's star power a qualitative leap. Is completely different from the past. Engaged in such a big battle, but produced such a small Tianmai Dragon Chi, playing tricks, it will not change your fate of being killed. Some people don't believe in evil. A tall man like an iron tower, holding a long iron spear, surrounded by 6 dragon energy around his body, stepping out, has arrived in front of Long Chen. The spear carries the supreme power. Straight Ben Long Chen stabbed between his eyebrows. It was a powerful 6-meridian heaven sage, and he didn't know what race he came from. He had no grievances with Long Chen, but the Lake of Stars went berserk and killed all his clansmen. He blamed the hatred on Long Chen's body. This 6-meridian heavenly saint was the most powerful lore when he shot. He gambled on the strongest power in his life, and his spear was like lightning, stabbing Long Chen in front of him in an instant. However, when the spear carrying wind and thunder stabbed 3 feet in front of Long Chen, it couldn't move anymore, just suspended in the air. What? People were horrified because they saw Long Chen from the beginning to the end. He didn't make a move, and he didn't even move, and he didn't even blink his eyelids. Long Chen looked at the long spear coldly. At this time, the long spear was only 3 feet away from him, and it kept shaking. It was obviously powerful, but it could no longer advance half a point. The face of the owner of the spear also changed at this moment. He looked at the tip of the spear in horror, only to see a crystal-clear film in the space in front of the spear tip. It was as thin as a cicada's wing, translucent, and countless stars could be faintly seen twinkling in it. If he wasn't close enough, he wouldn't be able to see it at all. Long Chen looked at the scene in front of him, and his heart was full of shock. A dragon energy of the sky vein can communicate with the world, and the power of the stars can be moved with the thought born from the heart. This feeling is really good. Boom! Suddenly, the Tianmai dragon chi behind Long Chen trembled slightly, and suddenly the space in front of Long Chen exploded, and a violent force directly shattered the man's spear. Puff! The strong man was instantly turned into a sieve by the fragments of his long spear, bloody, and flew upside down. No one knew whether he was dead or alive. For a moment, everyone was stunned. No one saw Long Chen make a move. A terrifying 6-veined heavenly sage was defeated like this. How strong is Long Chen at this time? Chen Feng, Yan Tong, Xingyue and others saw something bad and ran away. They are also experienced masters. If something goes wrong, they leave immediately. Want to go? There was a sneer at the corner of Long Chen's mouth. Where did your arrogance go when you blocked me? Long Chen slowly stretched out one hand. When he stretched out his hand, the dragon energy of Tianmai slowly attached to his arm, and his index finger stretched out, pointing at the 3 of them. When Long Chen pointed at the 3 of them suddenly felt their souls tremble, their bodies were icy cold, and a strong threat of death enveloped them instantly. Seeing that the situation was not good, they separated instantly and flew away in 3 different directions. The 3 of them are also considered smart, knowing that if Long Chen attacks, he can only attack one of them, and after attacking one of them, he will have no chance to attack the others, so it depends on who is unlucky. Suddenly Long Chen's fingers trembled slightly, and the Tianmai dragon chi wrapped around his arms suddenly lit up, and a star arrow shot out along Long Chen's fingers. No, the Scarlet Moon who was running wildly in the distance didn't expect to be so unlucky to be targeted by Long Chen. With a roar, he slashed behind him with 2 axes. Boom! Her axe accurately slashed on Long Chen's star arrow, but at the next moment, she and her twin axes exploded, and the area where she was located formed a vacuum zone with a radius of hundreds of miles. A water bubble emerged there, and in the water bubble, countless stars could be seen circulating, and the water bubble rapidly expanded and burst open. The powerful pulling force formed a giant vortex, like a devil's mouth, greedily devouring everything in the world. Seeing this scene, Chen Feng and Yan Tong, who were still running desperately, were scared out of their wits. Scarlet Moon's strength was no match for them. However, in front of Long Chen's blow, there was not even a leeway to resist. Her full blow hit the arrow of the stars, but it failed to make any ripples. This was what made them feel the most desperate. The power of Long Chen has exceeded their understanding and cognition. This is a terrifying power they have never seen before. This is the Tianmai Dragon Chi exclusive to the 9 stars lineage? Isn't this too strong? After one blow, Long Chen himself was stunned. After Long Chen possessed Tianmai Dragon Chi, he knew that the power of the stars had undergone earth-shaking changes. He knew that he could kill the opponent with one blow, but he did not expect that the power of this blow, enough to kill the opponent dozens of times. Don't waste the power of the stars. It is the source of your Tianmai now. Before it grows up, it will be very difficult to recover. Qian Kunding reminded. Long Chen also found that after the blow, the aura of Tianmai Dragon Chi was obviously weaker. Originally, Long Chen wanted to kill the other 2 guys together in the air, but now he had to let go. But looking at Chen Feng and Yan Tong who were running wildly, Long Chen was a little out of breath, and suddenly stood up, with the stars flowing on his hands, and pointed a finger at the 2 of them. No, the 2 yelled frantically in fright, and Chen Feng was so frightened that he feces and urine poured out, and he ran all the way down, and was pulled out of a long floating object behind him. Damn, if I can't beat you to death, I can scare you to death. Seeing this scene, Long Chen took back his palm with satisfaction. When he looked around, everyone had already run away. There was only Long Chen left in the huge dry lake. Chapter 5591. Haha, I finally feel proud. Long Chen saw that this blow alone would scare the shit out of all the enemies, and he would be overwhelmed by his domineering demeanor. It never occurred to him that with the blessing of a Tianmai dragon energy, his star power could reach the point where he could do whatever he wanted. Tianmai dragon energy seems to be the link between the Sea of Stars in his Dantian and the Sea of Stars above the 9 heavens, but it exists alone in the world. With it, Long Chen can use it to use the power of heaven and earth and the power of Dantian stars, and at the same time, he can use its power alone. Long Chen had just tested its power and was warned by the Qiankuan cauldron. Obviously, it's best not to use its power lightly. You are lucky this time. The descendant of the 9 stars has paved the way for you. In fact, this way of enlightening the dragon is a unique inheritance of your 9 stars. Qian Kunding said. Immediately afterwards, Qiankuan Ding told Long Chen that in the era of chaos, the best way to activate the Tianmai Dragon Qi is to have the most powerful people use their original power to help the next generation gather the Tianmai Dragon Qi. Because the 9-star lineage is too powerful, and the process of condensing the dragon energy of the sky veins is too long just by absorbing the power of the heavens and the earth, this method is the most ideal way for them. Although, even without the help of others, although he can condense the dragon energy of Tianmai, the process is too boring. The most important thing is that Long Chen's 9-star hegemony body art practice method is different from others, and he needs to consume more energy. The powerhouses of the 9-star lineage are often supported by the emperor-level powerhouses who support ordinary heavenly saints. However, Long Chen is very special. Xing Yi is a god-emperor powerhouse, and this Sea of Stars is a fusion of her endless source power. If it is an ordinary 9-star descendant, it is enough for tens of millions of people to advance at the same time, but Long Chen has just barely condensed the embryonic form of the Tianmai, and this Tianmai is far from reaching the point of perfection. Long Chen's Tianmai Dragon Qi not only drained the power of the lake, but also drained all the power of destiny in this world. It can be said that even the Qiankuan Ding was taken aback by Long Chen's consumption, but it doesn't say it. With such a terrifying consumption, only such a small young dragon was condensed, and even it was shocked. No wonder you don't let me condense the dragon energy of Tianmai, so you already know that Xing Yi is here. Long Chen suddenly realized. The Qiankuan cauldron was speechless for a while. It had been in seclusion before. How could it possibly know that Xing Yi was here? The reason why it doesn't allow Long Chen to condense the Tianmai dragon energy is because the power of destiny around him is too thin, and the condensing is a waste of effort and time. It just wants Long Chen to find a suitable place. It's just that, who knew that Long Chen would come here by accident, but everything has already happened, and it doesn't make any sense to talk about other things. Anyway, the result is good, so everything is good. By the way, Senior, what level of strength does this guy I have subdued belong to? Long Chen asked Qiankuan Ding. The guy Long Chen mentioned refers to the hexagonal evil fly that was sealed in the soul space. It can be said that apart from condensing the dragon energy of the sky, this is his biggest gain. According to the standards of the era of chaos, he should be around the 2nd-rank emperor at this time. Qian Kunding said after taking a few glances. 2nd-rank god emperor? So weak? Long Chen couldn't help being a little disappointed. You know, this guy has absorbed the blood of countless strong people before. You have to figure it out. What I'm talking about is the standard of the era of chaos. Just like before you entered the Tianmai Xian realm, you might imagine how big the difference is between the Tianmai Dragon Qi here and the Tianmai Dragon Qi outside? Qiankuan Ding said angrily. After Qiankuan Ding said this, Long Chen immediately understood, but soon he was confused again. He had never seen the God Emperor powerhouse in the era of chaos, so how could he know how strong it is? Let me tell you this, if you don't use Kiel Shiyue, even if it stands still with your current strength, You can't destroy it. Its current lethality is more than 100 times that of yours. It can be said that this time you have picked up a treasure. Qian Kuan-ding said. More than 100 times? Long Chen's heart beat wildly when he heard this number, so wouldn't he be able to walk sideways in the Tianmai profound realm? However, this kind of puppet is just a trick after all. If you meet someone who is also proficient in the technique of puppet, it is easy to be caught by someone's weakness and destroyed. You should not rely too much on it. Qian Kuan-ding reminded. Long Chen nodded. Forging iron requires hard work. He has always been wary of these external forces. Your star dragon vein is extremely powerful, but likewise, it also has a fatal flaw. That is, the consumption is too terrifying. Now that the original power has been condensed, the next step is to cultivate this Tianmai dragon qi to the extreme, so as to condense the second Tianmai dragon qi. Qian Kuan-ding said, now those treasures are basically hidden, and the peerless treasure will not be hidden. Since it is a peerless treasure, it will naturally be blessed by the luck of heaven and earth, and its location must also be a geomantic treasure. Next, your goal is very simple and clear, that is, where there are treasures, you can drill there. If you can win the treasure, you can win the treasure. Not bad. Hearing this, Long Chen immediately understood that every step of the Qian Kuan-ding had been calculated for him, and he didn't need to waste his brain at all. For a while, he felt more and more grateful for the Qian Kuan-ding in his heart. I don't like to listen to these words. What do you mean by taking what you can? Are there any treasures in this world that we can't take? Longu Shiyue said arrogantly. Obviously, the dragon bone Shiyue was even more domineering after breaking through again, but at this time it seemed to understand some restraint, and Long Chen didn't seem to feel too many changes on it. Unlike the changes in Yaoyue Ding and Fantian Seal, it's that huge. Hey, I love to hear these words. I want treasures, I want luck, and I want the power of destiny. What's yours is mine, what's mine is still mine, everything is mine anyway. Long Chen chuckled, his greedy nature was fully exposed. If you don't get rich at this time, when will you wait? Front right, luck fluctuates violently, there must be treasures, let's go. The Keel evil moon did not return to the chaotic space, just hung behind Long Chen, directing Long Chen. I'm going, you can sense the fluctuation of luck? Long Chen was taken aback. When did Dragon Bone Xie have this ability? It has sensed the smell of blood. Qian Kuan-ding reminded. You want to take care of it? Hurry up and go back to raise your old man. Keel Shiyue was dismantled, and immediately became furious. It often scolded Qian Kuan-ding for not doing any work, and looked like it was waiting for others to retire. The Qian Kuan-ding was not angry, and just returned to the chaotic space. The runes around it were slowly flowing, and it was not known what it was going to do. Don't deal with those sneaky tricks, let's just kill them like this, push them violently, those who follow me will prosper and those who oppose me will perish. Dragon Bone Shiyue shouted. Good, seeing that Dragon Bone Xie was in high spirits, Long Chen was also boiling with enthusiasm. There are dragons and crouching tigers hidden in the Tianmai profound realm. Today, let's see who is the real dragon. Call, Long Chen's figure flickered, and he flew away like a bolt of lightning. Chapter 5592 Kill. Surrounded by mountains, endless figures, and roars resounding through the heaven and earth, I saw a team composed of tens of millions of powerful people charging towards the endless army of demons. When Long Chen arrived, he saw this shocking scene. The tens of millions of powerhouses were composed of 7 or 8 factions. The leader turned out to be a beautiful woman with a ponytail and a spear. This woman has a beautiful appearance and well-dressed clothes, giving people a heroic feeling, and people will like her and trust her at the first glance. Her body was entwined with the dragon energy of the 8 veins of heaven, and the vision behind her was flowing, and the murderous aura was surging. Countless demon powerhouses were beheaded by her one after another, rushing from left to right, as if entering a no-man's land. But what shocked Long Chen was that the tens of millions of human troops seemed so powerless in front of the endless demon army. The demon army surrounded the surrounding endless mountains, with 3 floors inside and 3 floors outside. From a distance, it was a sea composed of strong demons. The woman charged wildly, but there were too many strong demons. They kept flowing, and their team was gradually scattered by the flowing demon army, unable to cohere. This kind of large-scale battle is the most terrifying if the forces cannot be concentrated. Seeing that the momentum is not good, the woman immediately ordered everyone to retreat. If they charge forward again, their team will be divided into several pieces, and when the time comes, the head and the tail will not be able to respond, and they will be broken one by one. Hateful. The woman held a long spear and retreated while fighting, trying to maintain the integrity of the team. Senior Sister Suyu, can't this work? We still have too few people and we don't get support. We can't stop them if we fight alone. A man guarding the woman couldn't help shouting. That's right, it's not that we are not strong enough, but that our human race is not united enough. No one wants to fight with us. Someone shouted. It's not that they are not united enough, but that they are too stupid. I told them that the demons have peerless powerhouses. Relying on the unique terrain and racial advantages here, we must use the timing, location, and harmony of people here to unite the ninth heaven. Pulse Dragon Spirit. Once it succeeds, it will definitely become the first 9 Meridian Heaven Sage in the Tianmai Profound Realm, and at that time, our human race will definitely be the first to suffer. But they didn't believe it at all, and thought that we were going to use their power to seize some treasure, and they were really mad. Someone scolded angrily. The woman named Su Yu led everyone back with a gloomy face at this time, because she was very powerful, and quickly led everyone back to the edge of the battlefield. Idiots of the human race, want to destroy my demon race's great event? Just dream? When Master Tiantong advances to the 9 Meridian Heavenly Sage, it will be the time for your human race to exterminate all races. At this moment, the strong taunt came from the depths of the demon clan. Obviously, they didn't take the attack of Su Yu and others seriously. Asshole, Su Yu was so angry that her face was livid and ridiculed by a group of devil cubs, which was a great humiliation to her. Stand back, let me meet that guy named Tiantong for a while. Su Yu took a deep breath and shouted loudly. No! When Su Yu said this, everyone was shocked and stood in front of her desperately. They knew that Su Yu was the strongest, and if she wasn't dragged down by everyone, she would have a high probability of breaking through the blockade and entering the core area. Currently used, the app with the most complete and best listening sounds, integrated with 4 speech synthesis engines, over 100 kinds of timbers, and an artifact that supports offline reading, Huanyuan app. Org Source app, but once she enters the core area, she will never come back alone. With so many strong demons, even if she is tired, she can be exhausted to death. Obviously, this Su Yu is loved by everyone, and no one wants to let her take the risk. The other human races don't care, so we don't care at all. Anyway, even if we are going to be dealt with at that time, we won't be the only ones being targeted. A person gritted his teeth. Obviously, he was very upset that he couldn't get support all the time. In fact, not only was he upset, everyone was upset. They are so desperate, not for treasures, not for fame, and not for selfish desires, but what are they working so hard for? We are born between the heavens and the earth, and we must act with a clear conscience. What do other people think and think? We only do what we think we should do, and we will die without regret. Su Yu said loudly. When Su Yu said this, those people stopped talking immediately. It has to be said that this Su Yu has a righteous face, radiant, and has the air of a general, which makes people admire him from the bottom of his heart. Brothers and sisters, follow me one more time. If it still doesn't work, I hope you can help my little sister. Su Yu glanced at everyone and said firmly. Obviously, she had to try again, and if she still failed, she would go into it alone. Even if she never came back, she would not hesitate. It's useless to charge 100 times. However, at this moment, a lazy voice came, and Su Yu couldn't help being furious. Wasn't this a deliberate blow to morale? However, when she saw the owner of the voice, she couldn't help being startled. At some point, a man wearing a black robe and carrying a fierce black long knife had come to them. The most important thing is that one of them is counted as one, and no one has noticed this uninvited guest. If this person is an enemy, wouldn't it be bad? Fortunately, this man in a black robe is handsome, with bright starry eyes. He looks a bit lazy, but he feels trustworthy. Who are you? The arrival of Long Chen immediately aroused everyone's vigilance. Countless strong men clenched their weapons tightly, and their fierce aura locked Long Chen. It doesn't matter who I am, the important thing is that if you charge in a straight line, even if you charge 100 times, the result will be the same. Although you are a bit stupid, the blood in your bones is still there, so I speak out to guide you. Stupid? Advice? Long Chen's words immediately made everyone furious. They saw that Long Chen, who didn't even have a dragon energy in the sky, dared to teach them so brazenly, and they were immediately furious. Someone was about to retort, but Su Yu suddenly reached out to stop her. She looked at Long Chen and said, "Friend, do you have a way to rush in?" "Of course, this is effortless for me." Long Chen shrugged. The other people were so angry that their noses were crooked by Long Chen's arrogant tone. They tried their best to attack the formation several times, but they couldn't break through the formation. Long Chen actually said that it could be done without any effort. This is clearly calling them trash. "Are you willing to help us?" Su Yu said. "Of course, but I have one condition." Long Chen said. Hearing the conditions, Su Yu showed a cautious look on his face, and when the others looked at Long Chen, they increased their defenses. Su Yu said, "State your terms." You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.